like a distance thing.
Stand by.
No, we've all been
streaming.
Good forever, so
we're live.
I think it was safe enough.
We're live. FY.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. I think I did it.
Listen to that, Chris W. Right away, we're late. Look, we're here, buddy.
You know what?
Banned. You're all banned.
What is
kidding.
time?
Yeah, right. Maybe you're early.
Maybe, yeah. Timey-wimey, people. Timey-wimey.
That's it. Everybody's banned from here on out.
Emote only mode. Oh,
so you are totally converted to OBS Ninja now? Is that right?
I am now on OBS Studio, not
thank goodness.
And I am on, and I am using OBS Ninja Control Room for all the video and all the audio we see here. There is no more Skype and no more OBS SLOBS.
Are you sure we're live? Because the channel still says we're waiting.
It says connecting stream. Wait, connect streaming software to go live. It just said I was live, and it says I'm streaming right now. Start sending us your video from your stream to go live. I just did.
Did you hit the go live on YouTube side too?
I did. Okay, hold on here. Let me hear
clues and things in the box, and there's like weird puzzles. Like you gotta take some clue from what this document says, and like you apply it to the lock on this thing. It's kind of virtual because like the lock.
This is a virtual component as well.
Yeah, because you scan these QR codes, and then it like opens up a locked PDF, and you need the puzzles give you the password to the PDF. And then the PDF will like have more clues, or it's like a little document or whatever to help you.
Oh, that's neat. Thing. That's very neat.
Really neat. It was kind of hard. Like they give you a hint file that you can pull up if you need a little help with the clues and stuff. And
I was wondering how they rate those things. Like, do they have them?
Everybody in chat, I'm just getting set up right now, so I'll let you know when we're like officially ready. You're just watching like pre-stream stuff.
Oh,
carry on.
It's the best pre-stream stuff.
Carry on.
And is it like an escape room in a box?
Basically? It has that kind of feel to it. Yeah, it's like those kind of puzzles where you got to be a little sideways with your thinking sometimes. Like there was one puzzle where like there's no way we could have figured out that it's like we had to play an audio file that was like part of like the intro stuff, and she mentions these like specific words, but it's like she's the main or the dead character or whatever, like she's just talking about
always dead.
Yeah, well, because you're trying to find who murdered the lady, and and there's like these newspaper clippings, and the hint tells you that
your chat just disconnected me. Whoops!
I think he killed the live stream.
Wait, what happened?
The video is no longer.
It said video's unavailable, and it bounced me out of the chat.
Yep.
I know. It's because I deleted the dead stream that wasn't working, and now there's a new stream you have to join. So what happened is in OBS Studio, when I told it to go live, it decided that it was just going to create an absolutely brand new live stream and not stream to the one that was already existing, like it does in SLOBS.
So like a new SIM card.
Yes. Exactly. You guys need the do you guys need the URL to the new stream?
Yes.
Okay, stand by.
Yeah, please.
Copy.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
But it was really neat.
This one should work. That's the right one.
$30 or something for the box. They have a subscription where like it's like an overarching story, I think. But this one was just a standalone.
That's smart though.
Yeah, it was really neat.
All right. I hope you guys did. You guys send out the link to the old one or the new one?
I hadn't tweeted anything.
Good. Make sure you use the new link if you do, because the old one will just send you the video not available.
We're live. Hey, what's up, guys? You guys?
Hey, look at that.
About,
we were live a while ago.
No,
you guys must not.
I take back only half of the mean things I said about you, chat.
No, that's why I said earlier. I said, hey, we're live. You guys go ahead and keep talking all casually, though. And I was like, set up.
That's fine. I mean, it's not, we didn't name any names, right?
I don't think so.
So then my mom says,
I
was like, your mom was making me a sandwich, and I was like, oh my god, it's a delicious sandwich. Oh, hey, everybody, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Oh my god, I've got a new phone. Oh no, this is the old phone. Shoot, why have I got the old phone? Oh, I'm so confused. Yeah.
This is how TikTok goes.
Can I tell everyone my adventures for this week?
Please do.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Let us have it.
This is just let's just say that the response to this week's adventures for me was that my agent's assistant emailed and said, "I thought you were supposed to be a technical genius." And I was like,
like in real life,
you're like, "Lol."
Only on television. Only on television, I had to reply.
I love that. I just play one.
I got
on
a new
TV.
phone. I irritatingly had to succumb to the Apple bullshit again because my family's on Apple, and it's like you're in like a walled garden. If you have an Android and you're in a family of you can't do group chats, you can't. Apple make it impossible. So anyway, so I bought this fancy new phone finally because my contract was up. I get the new SIM card. This is the 12 Pro Max.
Oh, fancy.
Oh yeah.
Pro.
Because now I can do those emoticons that move with my face.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
Apparently. And no, it's got this like LiDAR thing on it or something. I don't know if it's LiDAR, some kind of DAR.
Yeah,
It's got a DAR of some sort.
Yeah.
So it can actually do at night, it uses the distance sensor to figure out where to focus and how to get like the night shots looking good. So the night shots look great. But it's ridiculously expensive. It doesn't come with a charger. You spend like over $1,000 on
a phone that doesn't come with a charger.
Get a charger.
Well, because at this point they assume that you have a like Apple charger,
and that of course your warranty will be voided if you use anything other than an Apple charger. I'm assuming.
Yeah, right. Well, they can't. I think they
so they send you a USB-C plug that goes to their stupid Lightning thing. But anyways, yes, I had a Lightning thing, so I was fine. But what I didn't have was the brains to figure out how to get the SIM to work. I log into TELUS, which we have up here. I put in the code on my SIM card. It doesn't work. So obviously, most likely my SIM was faulty, which is fine. But because it didn't work, I then switched back to my old one. And then that wasn't working. I thought that was weird. So I switched back to the new one. That didn't work. And I was like, okay, so let me go. I'll check with a phone that I know works. And I took Jane's phone. And I took the SIM card out. I put it in my phone. I go, oh, I have to switch it over. So I switch it over to my phone. Nothing. So I was like, oh, that's weird. So I switch it back, put her back in her phone. Her phone's now not working. So eventually, after like literally 4 hours with support, with some of the most patient people I have ever met, I must admit, they say, did you change this? I was like, yeah, I did. And they're like, okay, so because what happens is as soon as you change the SIM, it automatically, without telling you, without warning you in advance, without saying, are you sure you want to, any of this stuff, it deactivates the previous card.
Rough.
So I deactivated both my
no.
well, actually all three of them. Basically all three. I'm assuming the new one was faulty. The old one was then deactivated by me, and then I deactivated my wife's as well. So we are without phone until they can send us the new SIM cards. And let's just say my wife is on that little tiny cliff's edge where she's got to the point where it's like I'm living with two guys who do not have the same, living requirements as James. So I think she's near the end of this pandemic, where I am.
So some people are complaining about a sync issue. I'm trying to figure out where that could be coming from.
No, I see it in OBS Ninja actually in the page.
Really?
Yeah, the video's behind by quite a bit.
No, that's so funny because I don't see. Oh, because I'm looking at me, not you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The video's just a little bit ahead.
The weird thing is for me, it's like perfectly in sync with the audio that's coming from our room that we're in. The room that we're all in. Like if you watch the OBS Ninja room, we're all perfectly in sync with our audio. It's just when I imported it to OBS, it seems like the audio track gets a little bit delayed. Yeah, because you're all synced perfectly. Like if I flip to the web page where it's the three of us, like in the web page, we're all like perfectly synced. It's only when I bring it in through the browser source. So I'm thinking that it might just be just a delay on like breaking out the audio.
Yeah.
So oh wait, can I do?
Well, we could all just say things like Godzilla destroy city.
Yeah.
And then it'll all be out of sync.
Actually, I might be able to
think
just
we're doing like an anime thing.
How much delay do you guys think it is? Is it like a quarter of a second? Because I mean, I can just add a delay and see what happens.
I don't know.
We'll just start. I'm out of sync.
Yeah,
let's try
the audio came just a little before, and it's for me. I see it in the Ninja webpage that your audio is just a little bit ahead of the video. Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it?
Oh, that's...
Is that better or worse, guys?
Oh, it is. Oh my God, look at that! It's tiny bit off. It's just a tiny bit off.
Better or worse? Because I added the delay for the audio track. So
we're going the right way.
Okay, is it better or worse? Better
or worse? I know, right?
Couple of seconds. Is the bit rate too high? Is that my bit rate? Is that your bit rate's out of control?
Okay, so I just delayed the audio on OBS Ninja. Oh no, but that's gonna make it worse if I delay it, right? We don't want to delay the audio. We want to delay the video.
From mine, the audio was forward.
That tells me we're in the right ballpark. So
Okay.
Here, let me try adding 100 milliseconds. All right.
He's a little behind still.
Is that better though, or worse?
Better, yeah.
Okay, hold on. What's that?
I'm always a little behind, to be fair.
Yeah. If you can tell me, just better or worse, because we all have ADHD this morning, so this is painful. Okay,
A little behind.
Okay, let me do 150.
Okay, now AuxxZillary and David can start talking. David seems.
Ooh, that's close.
Behind, yeah.
That's really close right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I want to hear it. I need to hear it. Yep.
That's perfect.
Yep, we're just gonna leave it there.
Okay,
Thank
stop
you.
clapping. That was Aux's very nice way of saying stop
All right,
clapping. For
so
fuck's sake,
actually, here, I'm
stop
gonna
clapping.
put some notes.
I think we got it.
150 millisecond delay.
Yeah,
on
we're
audio
writing this
stream.
down.
We'll have to redo this all again next week if I don't.
We-
And then let's see here. Make sure. Let's see here. Make sure each video has OBS.
It may not even be
control
break. You know, it
audio.
might actually pick up and slow down depending on.
Your
Is it
bandwidth or
buffering at all?
something.
Is that
No, that actually
No,
shouldn't be a
that's
problem because it looks like the delay is actually coming from the actual browser plugin inside of OBS Studio. Because when I look at it inside of Chrome, like if I just open up the window in Chrome where I see all of our 3 videos, all of our audio is perfectly in sync. Like everybody talking is like perfectly in sync with their audio. It's only when it comes over into OBS that it seems like it was delayed. But we added 150 milliseconds that fixed it, and I think it's probably has something to do with the way it's breaking it out into a separate audio stream in OBS. Like you can actually select an option that makes it so OBS has a separate audio stream for each one of us. And I think that's adding some lag. So I'll have to figure out how to address that like later on.
Cool.
Well, that's cool though. I mean, this is so much easier. Oh my god.
Oh god, it is. And the audio and the video and audio quality is so much better.
James says I'm delayed, but the claps were in time.
What?
It's probably
Which
off
makes-
just by a
makes
nanosecond
sense.
now, but it was better than it was before.
Thank you, Dom the Evo. James is
We're
our
good.
brilliant dungeon master, our angel of
yeah,
patience.
man. I wonder
gonna-
how do you guys do that? Like,
When are
what
we
is
D&D?
what is your platform? Like, what do you guys use to play?
James is using Roll20.net
Okay,
and
okay.
D&D Beyond, and it works really, really well. Although
Right
the
on.
setup is a bit of a there's a plugin, a D&D Beyond plugin in your
Mhm.
browser that then syncs the two, so you can roll the die in D&D Beyond, and it shows up in your Roll20 game. It does everything for you. But when you're dealing with 13 and 14-year-olds,
Yeah.
it is definitely a Mother Teresa levels of patience. And James is very, very good at that, you know. And a lot of dual screenings is a lot of like, okay, so what do you want to do on your turn? Silence.
Right.
Silence.
Ooh.
Ratlet.
Hey.
Oh yeah. What's up? And you're like, oh, for God's sake. Oh, for
looks-
God's sake, roll the fucking dice.
It looks like we're out of sync by one clap. Your timing was so good that the delay went from one clap to a next, so you're off by a little bit.
So
Oh,
it did
that's
move because it
disconnected.
was
Unequal
perfect,
chat.
right? Or were we always off, but we were just seeing this clap animation?
His timing, the clap timings were so good from one to another that we're off by a clap.
All right, try this. I upped it to 250 milliseconds.
Why does it say the chat's disconnected again?
That's just you.
What? Is it just me? Okay, all right, fine.
Give me another clap on.
It's probably my son's kicked into to like anime mode. Oh, there you go. Good. So okay, fine. All right.
Is that better?
Whoa, that looks.
Is it me? It says Ox and Jerry aren't off, so David needs to clap. Oh, that's way behind.
Why is David so much further behind than us? This is bizarre.
It does seem unlikely somehow.
That was like a full, like quarter of a second at least. Like,
Actually, hold on.
Is it like a setting on the? I can't change the setting on this camera.
make stochastic.
I can switch to my PC.
clapping.
Can we switch to my PC?
Good
See if it
word.
makes a difference.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you're on a Mac right now, aren't you?
Oh,
Yeah, do you want to switch to the PC?
Oh, you're a terrible person to even call this
I can
show on a
switch to
Mac.
PC.
what on Apple? It's the Apple tax, man. They're taking.
I'm
They're
trying to
taking
use my
advantage.
freaking $5,000 Mac
Hunk of
trash
junk, your
piece of
trash can.
shit. It is.
I wonder if I can
Boo.
change anything on
Well, if
my
I lived in the
side.
States, I lived in
Oh,
the
how do you-
freaking
it- dude,
States. I would
it
be.
tells me
I'd be
everything
Puget
about your
Systems, wouldn't
stuff.
Yeah.
I'd be throwing my money at you.
Let's see. Video settings, audio settings.
Right now, I can't get access to any of the
there's-
parts anyways. It's
They're
ridiculous.
saying David's video was leading his audio. Don't delay his audio. Right. We're trying. The audio's behind now.
Yeah.
So we've got to take away the delay.
Yeah, let me take the delay off. Let's just go back to 0 so we're not chasing.
Sort of like he became my best friend. Was like I was understudying this guy in a play when we were kids, and well, kids like 16, we're all trying to be cool and stuff. Yeah. And there were all these people doing these. They said, okay, I want you to recreate the most traumatic experience in your life. 15, 16-year-olds. So one guy was like,
that sounds horrible.
He walked into the center of the room and he's like, no, Hammy. And he was recreating when some bullies in the park killed his hamster in the sand pit.
Wow.
And of course, me and my friend are freaking killing ourselves with laughter. And then they turn to him and they're like, okay, your turn. And the director is like this crazy, amazingly talented, but just like a crazy, like big New York director guy. And he goes, Miller. And so Andrew gets up and he goes, am I allowed to use a prop? And he's like, of course, use whatever you need. And so he gets a garbage can, he puts it in the center of the room, and he stands there for a second, and then he runs at it and boots it. And he goes flying across the room, and everyone's like, and then he just goes and sits down, and everyone's like, And I was like, you just kicked the garbage can, did he? He goes, yeah, it's all I had. That was him reliving some moment of trauma, but he didn't want to talk about it. So,
yeah. That's great. That's okay. That's okay.
And we're coming back. And now we're in a completely different order, but that's okay.
Oh my goodness.
What? So it's working now? It's weird because I can see the audio like little histogram down at the bottom, and it is delayed by like a full second. And I don't really know why, because the audio is coming out of this OBS Ninja session. So why the hell is it having an audio sync issue? It's all coming from one place. That's what I don't get. Usually it's when we have stuff coming from multiple places. Wait, enable director's microphone and video? What the hell is that? I should stop touching stuff. Like, how do you pull delay out of audio? Uh-oh. Now I'm hearing a loop back on myself. Does that mean
there's a super echo? You're like in a plastic cave.
What the fuck did I do now? Oh my god, why does this always gotta be like this?
I'm dying.
I hate you guys.
Oh, man.
All right, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm muting myself.
Good.
God damn it, I muted myself. How am I still coming through? There, wait. Did that fix it? No. Where the fuck is this Rogue Audio stream coming from? I don't even know what's happening right now. So am I still echoey? Oh shit, now we can't hear them.
Hold on.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I officially hate this so much.
I
Okay,
love
so
those.
hold on here. OBS Ninja. Sorry, guys. How do I just no? Don't.
Use audio in OBS.
Okay, there we go. Okay, hello. Are we getting better?
Still echoey.
Okay, now I got to figure out how to kill the echo. Hold on. Mute.
Yes, check. Is that better?
No, that's worse.
Wait, do I come through a different microphone than
I do this. Is that a different microphone?
That's two. So like that's your Rode and something else.
So I have another microphone interfering somewhere.
That's not the Rode.
I need to figure out where this Rogue microphone is.
It's far away. I can tell you that. It's like not within arm's length.
I just don't know where another microphone's being picked up.
Webcams.
I'm looking at all my settings right now, and there should not be a microphone.
Could be like the actual. I guess they're hearing you. Because people are saying, "Oh, it's a webcam, camera mic, audio quality." Go.
Yeah,
tin
there's two microphones picking me up on different, like completely different delays.
Yeah.
Here, how do I just disable my microphone in OBS so I know that's not messing with it? Okay, I have microphone disabled. And let's see, let me hold on. So even when I disable desktop audio, I can still hear that Rogue microphone off in the distance. So it's coming from somewhere else entirely.
Same here. Yeah, I hear it. I hear it too.
I'll dig for it. Let me kill. It's not Skype because we're not on a Skype call.
Right.
Let's see. I muted myself in both windows on OBS Ninja, so I can't technically be OBS Ninja.
David's audio is gone. David's not making any audio.
Oh, David's not. We don't have any audio from David?
Oh. Nope. I guess not.
Oh shit. We don't have
I thought it was just being quiet.
How the hell do we not have any audio from him? He's not muted.
Everything's just falling apart.
Oh my god, what is going on here? I don't even know what's going on because like there's nothing on my screen showing me. Oh wait, hold on.
Check. Is that better?
There it is. 100%.
Okay, hold on. Now I got to figure out how to disable it. No.
Now you're gone completely. You're totally gone.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Better. Perfect. That's your Rode. You're sounding good.
Okay. Is there any echo?
No.
Okay. So now I'm not getting. Now I'm getting like a speech jamming in my headset.
I hear it.
I need to figure out how to kill that now. I'm just chasing problems.
It's like your headphones are loud enough. I heard you talking back to yourself.
No, you're not actually hearing that from through the headphones.
Oh,
I don't think so.
No, I can definitely hear it.
So how
just
do
a
I
little
get
bit.
This audio loop back busted.
It was like I could hear my voice coming out of your headphones being picked up by your mic.
Oh, I think I know what it is. Hold on. Oh, it's because it's being mixed back into the desktop audio and then fed back through OBS to me. So there's a slight delay. And we still can't hear David for some reason.
I don't think so. No,
which is weird because everything
unless
shows
he's messing
fine
with
here.
us.
David,
Unless
can
he's
you check
messing
your
with us.
microphone and just make sure it didn't get changed or something?
He's messing with us. He's pretending to be a mime right now.
Oh, is he?
Says, no, I'm just goofing.
Because right now he's unmuted and it says he should have audio. Here, say something now, David. Nothing? That's weird. Yeah, on my side it shows he's got audio just like you do and everything. Oh, hold on.
I hear you now. Yeah?
Now, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. Fresh.
Okay. So for some reason, just by switching the audio source away from what I was using and then back to it worked.
Cool.
Apparently OBS Ninja has bugs.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, they're called us. We're the bugs.
So now I just got to figure out how to mute my audio from the freaking OBS Ninja and still have it come through over here.
Is it plugged in?
What
are you guys in sync right now?
Am I in sync?
Is the audio and video in sync now, guys?
Boom.
Because I just want to know that before I mess with anything else.
Yeah, people are saying
the
yes.
stream
Everybody,
is so far
everybody
behind
is
for me.
synced. Everybody is synced.
Good sync. We back, boys. No delay now on David.
Bye.
Oh, so that's weird.
So I wonder,
David is
Jerry,
faint.
can you
I'm
just
too faint. Should I be better if I do
the
that?
tab on in Chrome?
Just
yeah, I hear
just
you.
leave it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Write it down. Write it down. Whatever you did, write it down. Hmm. Huh.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nope. It says Jerry's muted. Yeah. I hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, somebody, John Cripps says, ask him to disable audio on the directors tab.
Huh. I like the idea of having a director's tab.
Oh, we've done that. We've done that.
Okay.
This works. Stand by. Don't crash. Please don't crash. Please don't crash.
Please don't
Okay,
crash.
are we
Please don't
good?
crash.
Can you guys hear me on
David and Ox
stream?
are fine.
Wait
OBS
for it.
Ninja go. Zoom.
Wait for
Jerry's
it.
muted
Jerry's
still. We
muted.
can't hear Jerry. Wait a sec. Hang on. It'll take a while to catch up.
We heard a USB disconnect sound.
Okay.
Heard device unplug.
Okay, everybody's saying
Jerry's
perfect, 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 perfect. Perfect, perfect.
Perfect.
Oh, no, they're still
Perfect.
saying
Oh,
I'm
I'm
muted.
perfect.
I think those
I'm
people are
perfect.
delayed, though.
Yes, back again. Yay.
Back
yes.
again. Yay. Yes.
We hear you.
We hear
working.
you
Yes,
working.
yay.
Yes. Oh, I'm in sync with you. We've
Yeah.
got just as bad internet together.
Well, the chat is almost perfectly live. It's the video that's
It's the video. Yeah. The video
for me at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Likewise.
I think I'm on to something.
Everybody
here.
says perfect. Everything is good. Everybody's fine. It's perfect. Late to the stream. Still hasn't started.
It's kind of, and you can't really test this stuff unless I guess you'd have to have another channel to test on, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is what I did
exactly.
actually on Twitch. I set up another channel on Twitch because I got so sick and tired of like screwing up my streams.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
do I could do like a private stream and then like send you guys the link to it and we could triage it that way. But I honestly thought it was going to go a lot smoother than that because it started out so much smoother than that.
I know.
So the problem was just so that you guys can remember in case I forget. Inside of OBS Studio, when we all join the room, we're all effectively in a video conference. Like we can all hear each other,
Right.
we can all talk to each other. Then when I import that into OBS plays the system audio back through my headphones so that you can hear notifications and stuff, right? Like if somebody super
Right.
chats or something like that. And what was happening is it was grabbing your guys' audio and bringing it in under the regular system audio, and it was also bringing mine in too, which was creating a feedback loop because of the delay. Wow, your pitbull got
Right.
smaller.
Yeah, I told you not to wash it.
So what I did is I
Not hot
added
water.
my microphone separately into OBS Studio, and then I went back in and I muted the audio stream from me going to OBS from OBS Ninja. So you guys, your audio from OBS Ninja is going over to OBS, but mine is coming in through microphone right into OBS, and then that fixed everything.
Sure.
And
Ah.
it's a major pain in the balls, but I'm glad we figured it out because that was so frustrating. Oh my God, was that frustrating?
There's nothing worse because it's a bit like trying to do anything with people looking over your shoulders. I find you get even like at home
Right?
you could do it like if by yourself in a room, no big deal. But if you know there's people watching, it's horrible. I mean, and everyone always has advice too. It's a bit like having a cold. Everyone's like, "Oh, try lemon."
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Honey.
that skit from all the sitcoms or whatever, where like the stepmom comes in. Well, did you try plugging it back in? You
You
idiot!
gotta put pepper in a tea, and then everyone's got a freaking remedy. Yeah.
So okay, guys, officially okay. So we're gonna just say Tech Talk starts at 10:30.
Woohoo,
So this
1:30.
is, welcome to Tech Talk episode 50.
Oh.
If you guys have been
No,
You
sitting
guys
there-
are 50?
we're on
No, it's
episode
more
50.
than
This
It's got to be
episode-
more than
Wow.
50.
Really?
Maybe.
No,
I mean,
it-
50 sounds right.
I mean, I
50 feels
incremented
right.
it from the last episode, but I may have missed
Oh,
one or
okay.
two. Let's just call it more than 50.
Yeah.
We'll
Right.
say more than my bookkeeping skills on that number aren't the greatest, honestly. So, wait a second. I'm noticing. Wait,
They're
there's
up there with
$15 in
our-
chat revenue, but I see no super chats. Did I
Oh,
fuck
they
that up
they
somehow,
probably
too?
faded out already. Like we were
Yeah,
getting,
they're-
we got some donations while
I think people were throwing money at you in the hopes you'd get someone to sort this out for you.
It's like that stripper you want to get off stage. You're just like, come on, take
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah,
Take
come
it all,
on.
throwing wads of money and
Bring on
quarters and stuff. Just
candy.
go. Bring up the next one. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. So just so you guys know, I know we usually fiddle fuck around with this stuff to get it working, but everything's changed. It might not look like it from your perspective, but now we're using OBS instead of SL OBS, and now we're using OBS Ninja instead of Skype and NDI stuff. So it was quite the change to make on like a 30-minute notice. but I did not want to mess with OBS, SL OBS again. That platform's been nothing but shit for us with the gigantism thing that keeps happening, and the video quality with Skype and the audio quality with Skype. It was just, oh my God, it was just too much.
Yeah, no, this despite the rocky start, I do think this is going to be better.
I agree.
Call Linus to solve your tech problems. Get out of here.
Dude, what are you talking about, man? Every time I get on their show, they're having some kind of tech problem.
I like that Linus guy.
Yeah,
you like that Linus
know.
guy? Is he not legit?
He's good
Nothing
people.
Personal. Yeah, he seems like an okay dude. The content is mildly annoying to me, and like I just can't.
I think that's by design.
I don't think it's aimed at us, though. I don't think it's aimed at us.
Well,
I think
it's highly scripted, like high production, very markety. But I mean, it's by design, right? That's like what their goal of their company is.
Yeah,
really.
we don't go in for any of that shit.
Well, it seems
you keep your money.
It's just it's like cheesy. It's hacky. It's fucking I don't know. Like even lately, the pictures of like the underwear model pictures and stuff. It's just like it's just so hey, look at me. I don't know. It's like come on.
That's how you get like 10 million subs, though. Is hey, look at me.
I guess.
But that's my fear is that I think you get
me.
to a point where you're constantly trying to outdo yourself, and you sort of like box yourself into a corner where you've got to be doing stuff all the time. That's trying to appeal to as many people as possible.
The dropping things, like, come on. There's no way you're that like. Yeah, a couple times here and there, sure, you're clumsy. I've dropped fucking 1080 Ti's in my life, like bounce off the ground, right? I've dropped them, broken things, but it's like now it's a gimmick, and like it's just.
I mean, things kind of grow into that though. Like I understand that, like even with the stupid bat knife thing, that was like a one-time gag that ended up being in like 400 of my videos. But I mean, Linus is a clumsy person. I've seen him tripping over shit and banging into shit and stuff, like, which is funny because he's like a black belt in karate. So, it's just like drunken master. But yeah, no, I get it. His content definitely isn't for everybody.
It seems all right.
Did you see the recent? Did you see they did Raid Shadow Legends ad recently?
No.
And oh my God, did their audience just barbecue them? They came forward and they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that again, but.
Hey, there's through Stream Elements. There's an option. I could do a Raid Shadow Legends spot. Like I think it's like 2 hours on your stream, and if I get X amount of viewers during the stream,
oh yeah, the little brand spots.
$600. Yeah, I can make like $600. I don't give a shit. I'll tell my audience straight up. Like, look,
for 2 hours, $600, bitch. Please, I could get 8,000 for like 60 seconds.
Yeah, well,
get on my level.
That's not me. I don't have 1 million subs. I have like 1,000. I don't even have.
People would pay me not to play video games.
Yeah, right.
I'm so bad at them.
How many?
I got motion sickness playing freaking Stardew Valley last night.
Oh, how do you get motion sickness playing Stardew Valley?
Because all that scrolling.
The parallax is just weird.
Hey David, can you turn up your audio on your microphone just a smidge?
Yeah, turn it up, or I can move it
up. Yeah, you're just a little bit lower than us.
How is that?
Is
that any better? Can I control it? Wait a second. Can I control it from?
Don't you got a knob on that fancy mixer board of yours? It's like, just give me more microphone.
I do, but does it?
Speaking of,
I think that's only the output though. Let's see. Okay, is that better? Does it get louder if I do that?
Right on the edge. I kind of want to buy a Go XLR.
That sounds better.
How's that?
Maybe even that sounds closer
better
to the microphone too. I don't know.
I think I might just be moving. I think
it does sound better.
It's so specific.
Nobody cares.
It sounds
about
fine. Don't touch anything.
Yeah, don't touch anything.
Now my audio is drifting. Oh, whatever.
No one cares.
Hey, Captain Chaos, thank you for the 5 Australian pounders. He said Linus, the human advert. Well, I mean, they have to. The thing is, though, is everybody has to choose their model, right? And that's the thing is like you either choose, are you going to be like super ad heavy and then have like a crap load of money to spend on $100,000 cameras and studios and like 30 employees to like do everything? Or are you just going to be you and like a couple of friends or something kind of like dicking around and you'll just not have the budget, but then you don't have to have so many advertisements. I mean, there's a reason they have like 2 ads in every video. It's like they got to pay 30 employees and have a studio and they're shooting on like red cameras with 100 gigabit servers.
It's crazy.
This is the mistake I see all the time. Is I feel like when I first started YouTube, getting into YouTube stuff, I would go and talk to film companies because I'd go like, guys, this is where everybody is. Like we gotta start bringing the industry into this stuff, they never got it. They were always like, okay, so we'll raise $1 million and spend that on a 6-part series. And I'm like, no one gives a crap about a 6-part series. They want someone on every day talking to them, connecting with them. And they're like, yeah, but it's got to look good. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No. Yeah.
It doesn't need to look good. It's purely about the connection.
And that's what I feel like sometimes, like, I feel like it's like a peer pressure almost to continue to grow, to keep infinite growth, always more.
Yeah.
Like, you have a successful YouTube channel. Well, you're not successful till you hit 1 million. You're not, and then after that, you're garbage until you hit 10 million. And you have to buy red cameras, or like, why? Like, it seems like at a certain point, everybody ends up like getting caught up into like, I need to be better, I need to be more, I need to be professional, like it has to eventually grows to like a Hollywood status. And like a lot of times I feel like you end up losing what made you cool to begin with.
It almost happened to me, dude.
And how do you sustain the love?
Well,
how do you sustain the love of what you do too?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't.
I don't ever want to get to a point where I am doing things I don't like to do.
Yeah.
That's like,
no, that's where I'm at
at
right
least
now.
on a
Like,
regular
that's why I
basis.
don't have a schedule.
Yeah.
That's why I don't make videos when I don't want to make videos. That's I am very true to myself now after like almost going down that road myself, because I came up with a bunch of other YouTubers, so I know what that's like.
And like, you're making enough to feed your family and keep a roof over your head and shit. Like, why do you need more? Like, why? I don't know. If you want, like, again, I'm not trying to like smush on people's aspirations.
I think it's mostly like some people associate self-worth with like how much money they make. Like there's like a thing, because I understand that too. Like, even when I worked at Microsoft and I get a huge raise, I'd be like, oh, they value me more. It's like, no, I've just been there another year, and they have to raise they got to keep you, right? They got to try to cost of living and stuff. Or I'd get a bonus and I'd be like, oh my God, they gave me $50,000. I'm going to go buy a car. My God, they love me so much. And it's like, yeah, but I did something that saved them like 10 million. It's like to them, it's like literally like I found a 20 on the ground to hand it back to dude, and he like flipped me a quarter. It's like, and I'm like, hey, thanks, bro. It's go ahead.
It's so funny because I've been listening to a bunch of these like business related podcast stuff of late, because I've sort of decided I've decided that charity is probably not the way to go for tech bandits, because it's just too much infrastructure. There's just too much. There's boards of directors. They make it hard on purpose. You can't, yeah. And I think it's designed for things that are very specific in what they want to do. And of course, with me, nothing is that specific. And I spoke to someone who runs a big national Canadian educational charity, and she was saying, you know what? Be a for-profit and just put the profit back into what you do, and then you can achieve exactly the same thing. And so I started listening to all these podcasts, which I've always loved the business stuff anyways. But one of the things they keep saying is there's a great one called Indie Hackers, which is just all about just people who maybe aren't doing the big seed fund, the big sort of like investment stuff. Yeah. They're making things that are making them considerable amounts of money, but they aren't like these global sensations, or they are. And the thing they kept saying was we're being fed this myth that it's got to be a global multi-billion-dollar company, or it's not worth anything, or you failed. That there's something wrong with what they would call like what do they call it? Like a cottage industry, or no, what's it called? Not cottage industry. Like a subsistence level type thing, where you're basically earning a living without having to do another job.
What is it? Ramen profitable, right? When a business is bringing in enough money that you can at least feed yourself.
I like that term.
ramen profitable. Yeah.
But I love that, because again, when you get to these massive companies, you're dealing with massive amounts of like infrastructure and obligations.
Yeah.
And, Linus is probably at a point, like Linus is riding a wave right now that there's got to be a part of him that's got to be feeling like, I can't, if I look away, I'm going to just get taken out by this wave.
I think you said that before too. A few of the streams from last year, or where he's like, where it kind of took over his life, and like, it has to be like, at what point are you able to step away and it continues to be successful? Like, is Linus as a person the linchpin to the whole media group? Like, if he stopped being a personality for the company, would it not be the same?
Yeah.
No, and that's the problem, because it is based around him.
He is trying, though. If you notice, he's fired up like 5 or 6 side ventures and other YouTube channels that he's growing in parallel. That he's put other members of the company kind of in front of the camera. And
That's
he's
what
giving
I
them
would
more
do.
FaceTime. And I think that's, you know, to kind of buy some of his time back. And he's hoping to transition out to where he, you know, maybe he only has to be in a video once a week instead of, every, you know, 2 a day. And
I want to do that with Tech Bandits
Yeah.
because, like, we've got gamers who want to do game channels. I thought, well, I'll do shout outs for the kids so that they get, because I've got an audience, I can at least point a few people at it. Maybe they get a couple of subs or whatever. And maybe there's a way to build a network that way, because then you're not, then it's not like, then you don't have to be in every freaking video. Like, what do? You'd be bouncing from video to video every day. It's insane.
Yeah, and for
You
me,
know?
I like being in the videos. Like, that's the whole reason I got into this
Me
business
too.
in the first place was,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is I've never seen this as a business, even though it's like technically I've made my living for like the last 6 or 7 years. I've never really treated it as a business. I mean, that clearly shows by like how I'm living, but I love the autonomy of just being able to do the things that I want to do and share that passion. And that goes away if you chase the money. It has for everybody. Like I've had people like try to argue. They're like, oh no, I'm still doing what I love. And it's like, no, you're making the money and you're using the money to go do the things that you love. But you're still feeling obligated to literally shoot everything and make everything into production. And I was that way too. Like coming up, I got to the point where it's like, I wouldn't go on a vacation without taking a camera. And like, I would just be like vlogging like on a beach somewhere instead of actually just enjoying being on a beach somewhere, because I wanted to get content out because it was getting a lot of views and it was hot. And I was like, you know what? This isn't how I want to live. I hit my breaking point and I was like, you know what? I don't have to have, you know, millions of subs. I don't have to have millions of dollars. Yeah, those things are nice to have, but if they come at the cost of like everything else in your personal life, that's not good. And I've watched that. Like every other YouTuber I know, for the most part, that's a professional YouTuber that's gone really hard, really deep into it. Man, they spend less time with their families like than I do. They spend less time doing the things that they want to do. And they'll argue. They'll be like, oh, but I'm doing like these really, really cool things. And it's like, but are those things that you would have picked? Like if it wasn't for like the collaboration and the sponsorship and the money and it's like they want to do it for all the other reasons. I'm not gonna say wrong reasons though, because if that's what they like and that's what gets them turned on, then do it. But not me. It's not me. And when I went down,
And you also don't want to be the guy who just. You don't want to be the guy who just shows up to be in the thing. You want to talk to the people. You want to be a part of the whole process. I feel in some ways that these YouTubers get to a point where it's like they're the talent. They get sort of like wheeled in at the last minute. And to me, the whole point of this is that I get to talk to people who I wouldn't normally get to talk to. I get to do stuff that I want to do. I like part of the legwork of this stuff is the whole like the journey is what I'm looking for. If that makes sense.
No, it makes absolute perfect sense.
Yeah.
God, I sound like a hippie.
No. I think a big part of it though is self-reflection, self-awareness, right? Like Jerry mentioned, you reached a point where I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like this isn't how I want to live my life as much as I want to make videos or whatever. It scratches the itch. And I do think it's possible to grow to a big point and still keep doing everything that you love to do. I feel like maybe Jay is a good example of that. He's got his cool car thing that he does. He builds out the like plastic model things, and it's all different from his what's really making the money, but he still loves to do that too.
Yeah.
And I think he's got from outside looking in, whatever it is from social media and stuff, he seems to have he loves his dog, he plays with his kids, all that, and still has like a massive, he probably has 4 to 6 employees. I don't know exactly how many people he's running, but he's got
last when I was down there, I think it was like 3 or 4. It's a pretty small operation.
Yeah, but a business. He's keeping other people afloat with what he's doing and still loving his life without pressure to do more.
He is a self-proclaimed.
God, it would be great to have an assistant. Wouldn't it be great to have someone who just helped out?
Dude,
I'd love to have someone who's just here helping out all the time. That'd be amazing.
To just watch over and like tell me what to do. Like, okay, boy, here's what we're doing today. Boom. And
I miss my manager. I miss my manager at Microsoft. I did so much better when I had somebody that could keep me focused. Like I was the laser beam, you point me at shit, and that was so much fun. I've even joked around because I still stay in touch with him. He's like family. And I'm like, Bruce, like I should just pay you, dude, just to call me up on the phone every morning and like just get after me.
Yeah,
just be like, dude, you better. I'm gonna call you at the end of the day and make sure you got this shit done. So
terrible.
The thing is, I had a lot of respect for him. When you have a lot of respect for somebody, you tend to take their feedback very seriously. But if you have no respect for him, you're just like, fuck you. Like I don't care what you say. And the problem is, I have too many people in my life that are telling me, oh, you got to do this and you got to do this. And they're people that have not earned my respect. It's like I need to find somebody who I actually respect and I know has my my best interests at heart. And be like, hey, you want to drive? Like here's the steer wheel, jam it into my spine, let's go. And it would be very helpful. I would like that. But my goal has never been to grow a business or a media empire. And that's something that I see most YouTubers transition to. Like I could give you, I won't, but I can give you the names of like 6 YouTubers that I know that all said, "Oh man, I'm going to keep this a hobby. I love doing this. I'm always gonna," and they all, as soon as they see how much money is available and that companies will give them 30 grand to just like go hang out at, CES or go to Vegas or something like that, or pay them, 15 grand for a 30-second ad spot on a video. Then it starts quickly changing to, well, I can have this opulent lifestyle, so you know what? I'm just going to do whatever video it takes to suit the ads, or whatever videos it's going to take. And then I'm going to buy a building because I don't want to work at home anymore because I'm running out of room for all this shit companies are sending me. I know that plight, by the way. Like, I'm beating on myself for that, too, because I have the same problem. And
Dude,
so they
look
go
at my
get another
freaking
space.
I'm surrounded by stuff.
Yeah. But that's what happens. They get
I'm
like
the
a
same way.
studio. It's like Jay at one point had his house was full of stuff, like his computer room completely filled to the brim, like his closet just completely filled with stuff. Then he got the first studio, which I think he still has. I don't think he's gotten rid of that studio yet because it's like a secondary storage place. And then he's got his new studio, which is massive. It is. If you ever saw the video I did where I did the trolling video, it is a massive studio. I cannot believe he found this space. It is freaking amazing. And he and so amazing that he builds sets, like because Jay's really big into like the Hollywood stuff, right? He loves video production, he loves audio engineering and stuff. He loves the art of it, and that's one of his big things that I think kind of differentiates him from other people is that he genuinely loves the art himself.
Well, and that's cool too. That's something else to geek out about. It's great.
But yeah, he's I mean, to get where he's at right now, I mean, he has a support team. He has multiple studios. All of his stuff's like he has somebody that catalogs everything into XLS spreadsheets, so he like knows where everything is. He knows what he has, so when he sits down and thinks of a video, he can go, what do I need and what do I have? Like, he has that level of organization because and he's a wicked workaholic. He is. That's actually the one ding I would actually put against Jay. Is like anytime I've ever gone down there and hung out with him, it's like work hard, play hard. The dude like he'll work, like no shortcuts, nothing. He'll run his ass completely into the dirt, and then after he does that for a prolonged period of time, then he's like, okay, fuck it, today I'm going to Disneyland. Like today I'm gonna just and then he'll disengage almost everything and then just go to Disneyland and do his thing and then rinse and repeat. But he works really hard. I don't think people understand that this is not an easy job when you do it at the level he's doing it at. It's
at any level
draining.
It's not easy. Like there was somebody in the chat. He's like, "Yo, I just started my or he donated to us. Robert Davis, $5. I started my YouTube channel, got 16 subs so far. Couldn't be happier with producing content. But if people don't, and we've gone on this rant a few times, but it's like even live streaming, YouTube videos, whatever it is, like the end product takes a lot more effort than you think.
Yeah, it does.
Like live streaming's not just playing video games. Like you got to be entertaining or educating or interesting in some way, like constantly for hours on end. Like you guys just try it. Just try it. And like it's insane.
I see a lot of kids who are say they want to be streamers and stuff. Then they'll say like, oh, look at my channel, and you look at the channel and you're like, dude, you have to talk.
Yeah.
You're a host.
No face cam, no
host
microphone. It's like if I want to see gameplay footage, I just go to like the people that made the game. You know?
Exactly. But I guess I'm sure that's how they learn. But then when you start seeing like people who should know better, that's when you start going like, come on, like
a little bit.
How are you gonna succeed if you're not different in some way, shape, or form from what everyone else is
Well, that's
doing?
why I say everybody has to be a little bit of a narcissist to do this job.
Yeah.
Not hugely, but if you don't have a lot of self-confidence in like what you're doing, and you don't feel that what you're doing is entertaining yourself, and it's just like pure cringe for you, it's going to be cringe for everybody else too.
Yep.
Like you have to be comfortable. People pick that up, like over video and audio. People pick up emotion. So if you're nervous, everybody else is going to feel that nervousness. Like they're going to be right there alongside you.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I'd say like own
There's
it.
an audience for everybody. I've always said that there is an audience for everybody.
For sure. I love it.
And own it. I think own it is totally right. I mean, that's it. I mean, I made a career out of being like awkward and a klutzy and not good at things.
Right.
You know what I mean, like
you just double down on the stuff you're already good at.
Yeah. And the other thing is I see a lot of people starting to stream that get really down on themselves because they're like, oh man, I can't get any viewers or I can't do that. I'm like, well, have you gone and promoted yourself? And like, have you found conversations where people are looking what you're making and like sliding in there? Are you going around? Are you trying to like build an audience or are you just expecting to do something and then everybody just comes to you? And it's like, no, I had to self-promote the shit out of myself. Like, you have to know, like, when I used to make videos like Codegasm and stuff, I'd go out and find coding forums and go on GitHub and post my shit in the comments where it was relevant, where people were doing the same stuff I was doing. And you kind of do this arduous thing where you go out there and you build an audience because nobody's going to just find you. That's the thing. There's too many people coming in. The algorithm is too picky to just be like throwing like somebody who has only 16 followers into the mix of like, you know, people that are watching channels that have millions of subs. So you do have to work yourself. You have to hustle outside of the algorithm before the algorithm like starts working for you.
The best thing is to think of it, and we're getting into advice status now, but like pillar content. Pillar content, right? You make whatever. Say the one thing you love to do the most is like live streaming, Twitch, playing games, right? Twitch has terrible discovery. So you need to find another channel it's a funnel, right? So you produce your normal content, then you have to break it out into pieces to spread around and that feed back to your main source of content, right?
That's what Barnacules is telling me. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we ought to be cutting clips out of these streams, posting them on Instagram and stuff, like in stories or whatever. Like, hey, this is the kind of shit we get into on TikTok. Whoa, yeah!
I actually have a great example of that here, really quick, because you know the video I did where I had the RTX voice and I had the like, vacuum cleaner and everything. Well, I took a small clip of that and I put it on TikTok, and then that ended up getting like 500,000 views when my regular TikToks only get maybe 100, 150 views. Like, I'm not big on TikTok at all. And so it ended up getting hundreds of thousands of views. That, of course, you know, now the algorithm's like, ooh, there's something special about this because of the number of people that keep sharing it. So then that gets elevated. And then in that, I'm like, hey, come over and see the full video on YouTube. Then you see a giant spike in the viewership on YouTube. And then that giant spike in the viewership on YouTube tells the YouTube algorithm, holy shit, a bunch of people are really hot on this right now. Push it up. And then a bunch of organic people that don't know about me on TikTok now see my video on YouTube because the traffic that came from TikTok elevated up to a level where they can now see it. And it's this perpetual machine, right? That builds. And that's why you see content creators get really pissed when they post their video and they're like, oh, YouTube fucked up the processing or took too long or I missed my window or people couldn't watch the video, and then the video just never gets any kind of success after that because you have a very small period of time to get your stuff on all these various platforms. You have to get your stuff as many views as humanly possible in that first like 10 minutes, 1 hour, and 24 hours. Like, you have to hit those marks. And if you don't, you fall out of the algorithm and you're not going to get recommended to anybody that isn't searching for you directly.
Yeah.
But this is the hamster wheel that I can't get into. I just like I've tried, and every so often I'll leap onto it and give it a go. But I find that we are. I mean, step back for a second. You go like, we are working to algorithms. We are changing our lives and our patterns based on how to make things work in an algorithm-based system. And I think that I agree that I think all that's important, and I think that I probably, for one, should be doing a lot more of it. But honestly, I feel like in the long run, it's almost about, you almost want to take as much joy out of like giving or helping people on the various different sort of social media things, platforms, and you know, yeah. I mean, I love if I've got something that I can add that is of some use to people. That I get as much of. I'm like such an ego. I just love that can be useful to people. And I think there's a tendency for people just to leap onto a stream and go like, watch my stream. It's like, why would I watch your stream, dude? Like, I don't like I know I'm gonna hate your stream because I hate the way you're promoting it already.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like, and also it's also just consistency. Like, if you're just constantly, you do enough things after a while, people start to go like, oh, you know, that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that or whatever. Let me add that to the list of things.
Yeah,
you know,
consistency is probably
it's such a different world than acting. It's such a different world than acting. I find it extraordinary because it's, you know, acting is so specific to whatever world it is you're trying to break into. You know, whatever film or TV show you're trying to get into, do you fit into their world? And sometimes you just don't, no matter how good you are or bad you are.
Well, the other thing is all the research is done up front, right? Like when you go to an acting role and you're walking onto set, there's already a script, there's a premise, there's a storyboard. The investors are on board. They've already done tests and trials to figure out if people like the concept of it. Like, all that work's been done. The algorithm, for better or worse, already said you are blessed. You will be in front of millions of people, whether they like it or not. And then, of course, you have to maintain that momentum. Otherwise, you fall out. But you basically go into it knowing that show is going to be in front of a big audience. Whereas YouTube works completely different than that. YouTube is like literally dance monkey dance until somebody notices that you're dancing. And then if more people gather around and watch you dance fucking harder. Right. And then if more people gather around and watch you dance harder, then you let cars start hitting you and shit. And then you run into posts, start screaming things. You get naked and run through the intersection. Yeah. And it ends up just being this thing where it tops out as you, Logan Paul, in the Suicide Forest. You know, it's like that's what YouTube promotes. That's unfortunately what their algorithm does. It doesn't promote a healthy diversity. It promotes whatever gets the most views, which unfortunately is usually stuff that evokes negative emotion or some kind of fear or some kind of adrenaline response. And all the algorithms do that. No matter, they've done this with so many AI things on the internet where it's like they program the AI and they're like, give this person a healthy balance of what they want. And you think in your head, you're like, oh, as a human, what do they want? Oh, they love these cat videos. They love these funny videos. But every single time you turn on the algorithm, by like the end of the week, they're all watching shock content. Like they're all watching drama content. They're all watching the shit because that stuff, you can't look away. It's just, it's train wreck content, right? It's like it holds you and you're like, man, and I fall for it too. That's why I know the algorithm is actually doing the right thing from a business standpoint, because I'll be flipping through watching my videos about cars and stuff. And then I see a thumbnail that's like, I wrecked my car and it burst into flames and I almost died. And I'm like, oh shit, what's going on there? Click, and then it's like, it ends up being total clickbait. And the guy's like, oh yeah, my car was crashed like 20 years ago by the guy before I bought it. But still, it's like I had to click it.
Yeah. Anyway. So Qualcomm.
Here, let's catch up on some of these super chats really quick while you regroup yourself. Let's hear Henry. Thank you for the $5. He said, listen to this week's Decoder podcast with MKBHD about your YouTube biz. Interesting. I'd like to see his perspectives because he's been really good at being a. Not to say he doesn't have a team. The dude totally has a team and studios and all that stuff too. Like MKBHD went the same path as everybody else, but I do like the fact that he still kind of keeps it like pretty personal. Like I do like that aspect of it. Somehow he manages to pull that off. James, thank you for the $20. Wow, that's super generous. He said, always great conversation. Keep up the great work, guys. Hey, we have fun doing this. Captain Chaos, he said, also known as how not to stream. Oh, I think he was dissing us for my technical abilities earlier.
Whatever. Whiners. This is what I'm talking about. You try this. You don't know.
Hey, he gave us 5 Australian pounds, so I'm gonna let him braid me because in real life, that's what I do. Like if somebody walked in, they're like, "Hey, fat fuck," and they threw me like a $20 bill, I'd be like, "Cool, bro."
No,
you got any more?
David.
You got any
David,
more?
you're broken. You're broken.
Oh,
David's broken.
Oh, David, we lost you. David, what are you doing?
You got to unplug it, and plug it back in.
Plug it in. Plug it in.
You got to.
Did your stupid amp go dead again?
You're unplugged.
You plug that in. You plug it in now. All right. Well, he's
that
doing
back?
that. Oh,
there you go.
I hear him.
It's as long as I turn off my mic and go to a different mic and then come back, it seems to work fine.
Dang.
But it seems like it's almost like there's something building up, and then it gets worse and worse and worse and then dies.
Yeah.
You have like some kind of parasitic thing inside of your technology that's like growing and consuming.
It can only consume so much of my bullshit before it finally just chokes and dies. That's
the latest Windows update, I installed the latest Windows update on my box, and I noticed now if I let it sit any more than like 2 or 3 days, it starts just progressively slowing down the box. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah. Windows updates, if you ignore them for long enough, I swear, maybe it's a confirmation bias thing, but I swear you start getting weird, like your USB devices don't work right, or your internet starts slowing way down until like you can't connect. And I think they do that deliberately to force you to update.
Microsoft's just putting time bombs and everything.
it feels like it, at least.
It does. It does. I mean, they're not doing that, but it does. It's either intelligent design or shitty code. So
yeah.
Like,
or the Russians there's just so many Russians now in your system that it's just slowing down.
I think my computer's getting slowed down by all the Nigerian scam mails that are going out of it at breakneck speed every 3 seconds. No, but it has new ones now? Slowed down. Like I've been noticing like my keyboard and mouse locks up a lot more than it used to. Like when I let my computer, just idle for 2 or 3 days. And I used to have like 30, 40, 50-day uptimes, like no problem in between updates. And this latest update cycle, I think that they introduced some parasitic code because it's not showing up. And like I opened up Task Manager, it's not showing up as CPU utilization. Yet the box is still like chugging, and you can see the windows like drawing and like clicking around, and the UI keeps freezing. And I'm like, that's weird because the GPUs are showing like no utilization, the CPU is showing next to no utilization, which means that it's whatever's doing it is something deep down in the kernel, like where it's not being.
God, that's got to be such a monster by now. That thing.
Oh, it's massive. If people always ask me, they're like, "Dude, why don't you code an operating system?" It's like, dude, you should. If you knew the complexity of Windows, like honestly, even compared to Linux, it's like. And I know some Linux guys are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" No, Linux is a simple operating system compared to Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows
I'd love to switch to Linux.
Freaking obscure. And I mean, the way that they do things, the layers on top of layers on top of layers, like I wish that they just would use Linux. Because at least with Linux, it'd be like, okay, you got a couple of layers. You got a security layer, you got your network stack or whatever, and everything's accessible like at a similar level. With Windows, they just kept like putting layers on an onion until we're up to what, like ring 9 now or something like that of the operating system. Each one of these rings is different, and the way they interact with each other is limited. And it's for security, but the problem is at some point, you end up having so many layers that every little bug and shit just like slows everything down, and you can never debug it. You end up creating something that's so complex you can't debug it.
I tried to switch to Linux a couple of times, not switch, but like make the move.
Yeah.
So that I had a PC just dedicated to that, and I just couldn't do it. There were just too many things missing, too many like necessary tools that I just couldn't get a.
Yeah, if they had the support, you would, right? Like I would. Like if they had all the Adobe software, they had the entire Steam gaming library, I'd be over there tomorrow.
Done. Yep. Yeah, absolutely done. And I think because the other thing about Linux is it's so much easier to contain stuff. Like it doesn't. I don't feel like it. For want of a better word, leaks. If that makes sense. I feel like when there's a problem, you could just shut down something, and then you can sort of proceed from there. It seems better designed that way.
What I like about Linux, like my favorite thing about Linux when you compare it to Windows from an architectural standpoint, is that Linux has the concept of every device in Linux is accessible as an I/O stream. Every device. It doesn't matter if it's a modem, doesn't matter if it's a video card, doesn't matter if it's a sound card, doesn't matter anything. Any device connected or built into the motherboard, every single thing can be accessed the same way. You just open up a stream to it, you send bytes, you get bytes, and you have to be responsible for a lot of the timing stuff. But all you do is access it. Like if you can open a file and put text into it, you can open the graphics card and stream graphics to it. You can open the sound card and stream audio to it like as a bit stream. Like you have that level of granularity. In Windows, you don't. In Windows, you have to basically get like handles to devices through this device driver layer that they have in there. Then once you have a handle, you have to use their blessed APIs to interact with those. And if it's not a signed blessed API, then you're not talking to the hardware. Like you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. And so people have to literally write these incredibly complex drivers and then sign them so you don't have to be in dev mode so that you can install a driver on the stack. Even a mini driver now has to be signed. So you try to like make your own little mini driver to like intercept like keyboard or mouse or something like that. You have to go get that shit like signed by VeriSign, like so people can.
And
install
they've had
it.
epic fails on that anyway.
Massive
epic fails on the whole stream.
So I like the idea that on Linux, it's like all you have to do is understand how the device works. You don't, and you can still build modules. Like in Linux, you can still have the equivalent of a driver, which is like a module, and from the module you can go through the module as its own device, and then the module will connect to the device and be the intermediate like a driver is in Windows and make things easier to program for and make them more uniform across lots of hardware. But I still like the idea that you have that granular level of access. That's like, dude, if I just want to grab the network card and I just want to start streaming bits to my network card and use any feature on it that I want, and just like literally even from Python or from Perl, just operate this hardware however I want. I love that. I love that aspect, and I wish that Windows had that. But of course, people think that that's, a big security no, but not really, because Linux just says, dude, if you're not root, you can't do this shit. Like it's that simple. It's like don't put user access control on top of the the user control stack on top of the kernel and user mode protected space. And it's like Windows has like 5 layers of abstraction between the actual software and the security to get to the code. So the code that's running thinks it's doing something, and hell, the kernel could twist it towards doing something completely different, and the code has no idea what's going on. Like you could write to the registry and it'll put you in protected registry. So you think you're editing the registry, but you're not. You're editing like a blank registry. They can do this thing where it's like you fuck with files and you think you're fucking with those files, but you're not. It's really putting you in a walled garden with a copy of that file. And so you're like, why isn't this shit working? It gets so confusing to debug because there's all these different like forked paths that it can go. And it drives me absolutely wonky bonks because every time there's some kind of a security flaw, instead of just fixing it from an education standpoint, they fix it by putting in more and more and more walls till you're finally to the point where the user's like, I can't install anything because there's so many goddamn buttons to push to get through this. And it becomes hugely annoying. And you don't get that in Linux. In Linux, it's like, I want to do something incredibly complex. Boom, it pops up. You have to be a super user to do this. What's your password? And it just does it. And you're done. There's none of this like obfuscation where it's like, oh, I want to be a super user. Okay, we're still going to put you in the walled garden. Oh, you're going to try to modify files in the Windows directory? No, fuck that. We're going to create a duplicate copy of it and then just lie to the API and make it look like you're editing the files so that you go absolutely fucking nuts every time you reboot the computer and the file isn't edited.
It's like nanny software.
It is. It's like the entire operating system has become antivirus. And the truth is it still gets attacked every bit as much, if not more than it ever has.
and it's completely insecure now because they've lost they've lost all the access to it recently, anyways, right? I mean, not access to it, but all the access to the source code.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing.
Hey,
Once the source code's public, right?
Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, how does it hold up to like Qualcomm?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, go ahead, Aux, take it away.
Oh, I don't know. I guess they're Qualcomm's got a newer, lower end chip for like mobile devices and stuff. That'll it looks like it's pretty cheap, little about like mid range. They're the Snapdragon 480 5G mobile platform.
Sounds fancy.
They're talking like it sounds like I guess they're improving on the 5G tech faster than expected. Let's see, it's delivering high and mid-tier features at an affordable price. Support of both millimeter wave and sub 6 gigahertz bands from the 5G spectrum. Improved.
Is anyone
CPU.
using 5G though? Like 5G is not available anywhere.
A little bit. It's sprinkled here and there. It's not.
Yeah, I don't think we've got it here at all.
The coverage isn't that, and it's partly because it's a fairly short range. It's like
you got to be like sitting on top of it basically.
Yeah, it's super high frequency, so it's like it doesn't go as far.
Millimeter wave, meaning that it's like microscopic wavelength.
That's how they see my naked pictures when I go to the airport, right?
Exactly. They just 5G'd you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like how does it go? I think it's the
you,
lower.
Michael J.
Is it the lower or the smaller the wavelength, the less penetration you have through materials?
Yeah, shorter.
I believe so.
So you can actually still go over good distances. It's obscure. Like everything blocks it. So you have to have like line of sight basically.
Yeah, including weather.
Yeah.
Including weather, perhaps. I mean,
but it seems cool. Like we're getting better support for, better image processing, 120 FPS displays, blah blah blah.
The bandwidth is insane, dude. The bandwidth that it can carry is insane.
So it seems like the mid range to like mid high range phones are going to just see an improvement over what they've been, which is pretty cool. I think
what's the bandwidth
but no
cap on
groundbreaking, nothing.
I mean, it doesn't seem to be, other than like the price. It seems is significantly lower than it used to be. I'm not seeing any comparisons of previous tech, but that seems to be the main hook. Is like they're not going to be as powerful as like the 700 or 800 series like CPUs, but it's like it hits the most of everybody. You know what I mean?
And plus, because it's cheap, that's going to change how fast infrastructure deploys it, which is a big deal.
They mentioned that too, that because now that it'll be easier to get, like it talks about China is like bathed in 5G, which of course they would be, but it's gonna push them to figure out their networks and stuff a lot better.
I mean, the 5G
how does
tech
the 5G
is cool.
How complicated is it to have like multiple 5G towers and stuff? Or
not at all.
I can't imagine.
It's actually the most like easy to deploy solution ever because it uses beam steering to basically like stay connected to devices as they're moving along, so you don't have a lot of overlap. You know, like if you put like 5 4G antennas next to them, they'll all overlap, and you have to shift the signals for each one of them, so they're basically on a different channel. Whereas with 5G, you can technically have emitters pointing in every direction that are all using the same exact frequency in the same channels, and they're basically just steering the beams around towards all the targets and stuff as they're moving. It's like, it's weird to look at like an animation of it, but it's like as you're driving along with a 5G tower, the 5G tower is actually keeping a connection with you as line of sight as possible. It's like shining the equivalent of like a laser pointer at you as you're driving along. And it does it by like what beam steering. They basically just shift the frequency, and it causes it to point in a different direction. So the 5G arrays are literally just like scanning all over the place, trying to keep line of sight communication with everything. And then as soon as another tower has you in its sight, it basically, once the signal strength on the second tower is higher than the first tower, then it basically hands you off like flawlessly. Right. And so no, it's really freaking cool technology, and I think it's even relatively low power too.
I think that was part of the deal. Yeah. That's what makes it interesting.
It's like way more bandwidth, lower power. I don't know about cheaper deployments, because I think the 5G arrays are like really expensive to manufacture. Like the whole beam steering stuff is not cheap to do. But it does solve a lot of problems, and especially for like using stationary broadband connections. Like if you want to use 5G as like your internet at home, Like when you do a 4G, you're basically saturating the spectrum. Like when you're sending out your signal and they're sending back your signal, it's like if everybody in your neighborhood was using 4G simultaneously and everybody was just bombarding it, your speeds would just drop to shit. Whereas with 5G and the beam steering stuff, like basically it's kind of like having a wired connection between you and the tower with minimal interference. So as long as you're like, even if you're moving around, like, but the cool thing is, like, if you use it at home, you don't have to worry about like, oh crap, if we have 100 people using 4G at max bandwidth 24/7 as their internet connection, it's going to saturate the whole pipe.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about stuff like that really as much.
Wow, that'll make
Or
conventions
beam
so much
forming,
better.
not beam steering. Sorry, beam forming. Beam steering is like what they do with, what is it? The Starlink satellite.
It's like, man, I think that'll be a big thing for conventions and stuff. Because, man, I don't know about you. We were at this. You and I've gone to PAX. We weren't at TwitchCon. But even PAX, like, it's the cell signal is just garbage. There's so many people all concentrated in the same block of the city. You can't ever. You have to go a block or two away from the convention center just to make a phone call.
Yeah.
And San Diego was even worse. Holy cow. Like, you got even like near the convention center, you couldn't, unless I think it was like Verizon people had the best signal inside the convention center. David's unplugged again.
Oh, did you get unplugged again, sir?
Switch it off. I've
There you
switched
go.
it off and on again. It's so weird.
Should I send you a wrench
Next
so you
time,
can start banging on it?
next time I'll try just going through the laptop, the PC laptop, and see if it's got something to do with that. But yeah, it's weird.
I dig it.
It's odd, very odd.
Yeah. I think it'll be.
As long as I
it'll
keep
be
doing that, it's fine.
Hey, Ox, you sound like you got some allergy stuff going on, or do you got the?
Oh no, I
vid?
got it. No, something's tickling my nose a little.
Probably
But I think it'll be
5G.
fine.
It's probably
Yeah.
5G.
Oh,
Go burn
no.
that tower. Go burn
It
that
is,
local
dude.
tower.
You better go out
No
and burn
way,
that
man.
5G
Yeah.
down.
I get such terrible cell phone signal out here, and there is a tower. Like, I can see the tower poking up above the trees that are a quarter mile away from me, and it must not be a T-Mobile tower. I'm like, I have 2 bars. It's freaking terrible.
You just have
I
lead
hate it.
paint in your house. You're gonna find out they use like cheap lead paint. You're in
Right?
Faraday.
I
I
can
just-
be surprised.
I got to LA. I could not believe how terrible the phone service was.
It's just,
A
it
cellular
blows my
service
mind
was, I mean,
sometimes.
maybe it's better now, but it was a freaking disaster. And I was like, for LA, a city that literally lives on their phones,
Right?
I couldn't get over how bad it was. So
That's the other problem with like the incredibly low range of modern cellular technology. Because I mean, a lot of the FCC stuff has reduced the power on this end for the transmitter, because you know this is close to your brain all the time, and they're like, okay, well, you know, until we know more, let's
whatever.
go ahead and reduce the power, right? Like the power output
you know
on
how they
this is
test
like
those?
100,000th of like what was being put out by the bricks back in the 80s, right? Like those ones could
but have you
transmit.
seen how
like-
they test those?
Oh no, how?
So they test them as safe by holding them a foot away from your head. Because
Really?
they don't want them up against your head. They want them a foot away. So they're tested as safe as long as you don't hold them up against
Who
your
the
head.
hell holds their phone a foot away from their head while they're talking on it?
Nobody, but that's how they test them so that they're safe.
That's
That's
ridiculous.
weird.
That's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, you should double check on that. Maybe that's
Yep.
just like some kind of an urban legend, but that's what I had heard, that if you look at the testing is all held at a safe distance from your head.
Well, I'll tell you this much: these phones don't the transmission power on them isn't very high, like compared to like older phones, and a lot of that comes down to like the smaller the wavelength that they're using, and also the more towers, right? Because it used to be you had to, you know, to get to a tower, you might have to go stretch out a mile and a half. Now there's like a tower literally like every couple of thousand yards in some places. You're gonna find tower after tower after tower, and they're all disguised into the landscape.
Yeah.
You don't even see half of them.
I think
Right.
the ones that look like trees.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah,
they
they're
do a really good job sometimes.
yeah, they're
I
they're
know,
literally
and some of them
everywhere.
are just so bad.
Oh yeah, some of them are terrible.
Yeah, someone where they
Like,
tried to make it
yeah.
look like a flagpole, and it was like the thickest flagpole
Yeah.
ever, and then they tried
Yeah.
to like integrate the transmitters into this giant flag that was like 100 feet tall, and I was like, yeah, everybody's gonna know,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that tree doesn't grow here. That
You're all like hitting,
It's
it's
a
painted
pine
like
tree.
bark, and it's like doom, doom, doom.
The things that freak me out is like we've got like an old people's home here, or like I don't know if it's like an old people's home / maybe low income housing thing. There's like a corner building,
Yeah.
and there's all of these apartments, and then there's just like a sea of cell towers on this thing, and I just think like I know I'm sure it's safe, but I just don't know that I want to be living that close to these massive towers. You know what I mean?
I mean, the human race has spent the last 60 years bathed in all kinds of
I
radio
know, I
frequencies
know,
all
it's
the
true.
time,
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah,
Since radar was invented, there've been EM everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, living under power lines doesn't give you autism or whatever. Like, it's like
Right.
the kind of thing. Maybe over time, like, having been
It's just the buzz.
constantly
Even the idea of the
bathed in it.
buzz. I have that electrical buzz in my head. When I look at them,
Yeah.
I think like, oh God, there must be. I'm sure there isn't, but like,
Yeah.
I hear the transformer outside our house. So we have like on one of the poles, we have one of those like
Whoa.
transformer things.
Yeah.
And when I hear it and I can't ignore it, drives me freaking crazy.
Yeah, like I'm one of the few people that can hear ultrasound.
Yeah.
So like they
Wow.
high frequencies that are way outside of the human range.
Like
Whenever they
television.
do ultrasounds, I can tell them when they don't believe me. Like I said on the thing, they're giving me the ultrasound. I'm like, I can hear that, and they're like, no, you're just probably hearing like the machine or the fan on the machine. I'm like, no, change the frequency. And then as soon as they change the frequency, I say, oh, you just changed it. Okay, it went up, it went down, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, there are some people that can hear the ultrasound. You're not actually hearing the ultrasound frequently. What it is, it's vibrating a bone. And you're picking up the sound that's coming off of the bone that's vibrating from the ultrasound. And I can hear it no matter where they put it on me.
Anyway,
What's that?
That's how sound works.
Yeah.
You vibrate the bone and you hear.
But most people, it doesn't vibrate. It doesn't vibrate the bone enough to like register. But for me, it's like I can hear like probably a quarter of the frequencies. So when they're doing when they're scanning, like when they were doing my blood clot in my chest, they'd be on there, and I hear the machine, doing its little. And I could hear it in my head no matter where they put the thing on my body, and they were like, wow, that's weird. Like they thought it was in my head, but then they
never let you back out of the lab.
They're like, yeah, we must study him. We must study him.
This mutant.
The other thing too is like cell phones, the radiation that's coming off them is non-ionizing, so it's not going to destroy your DNA or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think the things that they're concerned about with it isn't so much like DNA as it is disrupting the electrical signals in your body too, right? I mean, it's like your neurons. You have so much biological, like chemical energy all over your body. It's like, does any of this fuck with it? Like, does this create any like magnetic eddies or anything like that over time? Kind of fuck with you a little?
I don't know. It seems like it's
What
so.
about just heating the side of your head like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just heating the side of your head with a phone. I mean,
There is.
Well, I mean, there's people in the.
Said,
Go ahead.
oh, okay. Well, there is something to be said about like prolonged exposure to a highly concentrated radio beam. Like, there's evidence to show that like a lot of women will keep their cell phones in their bra.
Yep.
And there's evidence to show that might increase your risk for breast cancer, which kind of makes sense. Like, it may not be non-ionizing, but a concentrated high energy beam of radio waves is gonna mess with you somehow. Like, you can't.
But you can't rule out the other factors too. It's like, does having something over your skin that doesn't breathe, that completely seals it off,
Sure.
does the heat, just having a constant like radiating heat source there on your skin, like does that mess with your body's flow of blood or something like that, which ultimately leads to a clot or something turning into cancer? I mean, there's a million variables there. But I don't think that like cancer going up or anything necessarily has anything to do with the radio waves, because like you said, we're being bombarded with the entire spectrum, everything down from zero or well, not 0 hertz, but 1 hertz, all the way up into the. I mean, literally, you go outside, you have the highest energy freaking radiation there is, which is the sun, bombarding you. You're literally getting hammered by like not even nanometer waves of light are hitting you at way higher powers than like us. And they travel literally, hundreds of thousands or millions of miles through space to come through, and then gets, shaved off a little by the atmosphere and then pound into you. Enough to burn you. Like, you can literally stand, like you stand next to your cell phone, you're not going to be burned to crisp.
Of course, and it also causes cancer.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think a lot of people understand that light is just a frequency. It's a frequency we see.
Yeah.
Like, you can see radio, like people have made what do they call them? Radio telescopes. So radio telescopes allow you to visualize the sound spectrum, because you want to be able to see infrared light, right? You can't see infrared light, but you can if you have a special lens. Right. It's the same thing. You can see radio telescopes can turn any frequency into something that you can visualize. It's just like you using night vision at night, right? It's like, how do you see it? It's changing it to infrared, and it's showing.
Someone did it for Wi-Fi.
What's that?
Someone did it for Wi-Fi, where they could visualize Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they created a camera for seeing the Wi-Fi signal going around a room. That was really cool.
It's weird, man. It's like a bad old Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, so we're getting bombarded with like every freaking signal under the sun. You're getting hit by terrestrial broadcasts for your radio in your car at like super high power.
Kind of. It's high powered in order to go very far. Like
Yeah.
it's like if you were standing right next to the radio antenna, you would probably feel weird. But because you're not right next to the beam, it gets dispersed, right? So like that's a little different from like your cell phone is picking up a directed beam. It's pretty tight and it's constant, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you might be being bathed in 107.7 megahertz or whatever, but it's so dispersed, and by the time it gets to you, it's fairly low power. It's got the initial burst has to be powerful in order to reach, but by the time it gets to you, it can't be that powerful. Like, so
and plus the guys on the International Space Station, it's like they're using high powered transmitters, and they're being exposed to all that solar radiation that's coming at them. I mean, a lot of it gets beaten down by a lot of it gets kicked down by the Earth's magnetosphere. But still, it's like they're getting hit by more than anybody on planet Earth is any given day, unless you live inside of an X-ray machine. And they seem like after what was the one guy up there for like a year and a half or something? Yeah. And he came back and they said, I mean, obviously he had bone density loss and stuff that was directly tied to gravity, but I don't think they found anything wrong with him that they could link to radiation. Although I do know that they said that astronauts are like 3 times more likely to develop some form of cancer. Like, there was some study that was done in Russia, and I guess America concluded also.
Yeah, we're not being protected.
Prolonged exposure to radiation does increase your chance for cancer, but the truth is we all have cancer in us all the time. Like, your body is continuously fighting. The difference between your cancer and a recognizable cancer is that cancer was able to grow big enough without being destroyed that it basically becomes a juggernaut, and your body can't fight it on its own. But, you have cancers. Like, your DNA fucks up all the time. Like, you're walking around outside, every time your skin's getting bombarded by gamma radiation and shit, it's fucking up all your DNA. Half the cells that get mutated just die because it just fucks them up and they don't know how to work, right? It's like putting a bullet through the engine in your car. It's like it doesn't work anymore. But every once in a billion times, it damages the cell in a way that the cell can still operate, but then it just keeps replicating itself all broken. And that's really what cancer is at the end of the day. It's just basically a cell that just went full derp. And was like, you know what? Instead of making a blood cell, or instead of making a prostate cell or lung tissue cell, I'm gonna go ahead and just make a mass.
Weird things.
Yeah, I'm just gonna curl in on myself and make some weird mass, and I'm just gonna.
Or I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop replicating. That's the other thing, right?
Yep.
You get the wrong gene that doesn't regulate it, and then you're screwed.
Yeah. So
it's so funny because cancer to.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Like I say, cancer to me was always this sort of like, it was a thing, but the reality is it's just us.
Yeah.
It's just a part of us misbehaving, basically.
Yeah, it's like literally you look at your arm and it's like you see a mole growing out or something like that. It's like, it might be benign, it might not be connected to anything else, and it might be damaging anything else, and it may eventually slow down, but it's like, it's not supposed to be there. Your DNA wasn't
like,
here,
wait till you get to my age.
No, but it's like over time, right? As you get older and stuff and things break down and recover and break down and heal and break down and heal, some cells start doing some wonky shit.
Yeah.
As long as your moles aren't like really like oblong and stuff, like they're usually considered fine. But if you have a mole that looks like, it's like a portrait of like George Washington's head, you should probably go get that checked out.
Right.
Because moles are.
Well, you know what's neat about that stuff is that I remember talking to a guy about this years and years ago, where it's like, I was like, why don't we have like full body scans? Like, we've got these cameras, got these incredibly high resolution cameras on our phones. You could scan your entire body for moles.
Yeah.
And just do one, like once, like every 6 months, you go and do like a scan of the body with whatever app you've got. And it would just track the moles. And if there's a, if the AI goes like, wait a second, that looks weird. Bingo. It tells, I mean, there was a study done. And I think they were saying that the AI was better at recognizing irregularities in moles than physicians were.
Yeah.
Because the physicians, they don't have the same kind of, they don't have the same detail. They don't have the same sort of being able to check back and forth between what it looked like before. I mean, I feel like, why aren't we all doing that all the time? It'd be so easy. Just go in and get things lopped off as they get out of control. I mean, that just,
Yeah, honestly, even just a piece of
I'm
software
sure there's companies doing it.
Just time lapses, right? You see anything a little wonky with your body, you just take a picture of it every 24 hours so that you can actually see the evolution of it so you don't get used to it. Because like me, it's like I have a bump in the back of my neck. My doctor said he thinks it's a swollen lymph node, but it's been here for like years. But it gets a little bigger every year, and it literally feels like there's a golf ball sticking out the side of my neck back here.
Yikes.
And he said, yeah, it's, he thinks it's benign and it's like no big deal. And it doesn't hurt or anything. It's just there. I notice it when I run my finger over it. I'm like, man, there's a bump there. And if you dig in there, it feels like there's like a grape, It's really kind of bizarre, but it's like, man, I wish that I did have some kind of technology to like take, take a picture of that like every single day and then have it like extrapolate something by seeing everybody else's little bumps on their necks and then using AI learning to go, of 20% of all the people that took pictures of this kind of phenomenon ended up, having, some weird cancer. Go get yourself checked, or the opposite.
We've
it's like
got
80%,
the data,
or not 100%. We're fine. Like it was all benign. Like don't worry about it. Like if you find a mole on your body, it's like, oh no, this is incredibly common. Like everybody in the world gets these at your age. You're fine. That'd be cool. I think that would be a great application.
I mean, there must be apps that do that. There must be.
The only problem is, like, again, that's the good side. Now let's look at the dark side of that. Every single medical professional on Earth is booked up 24/7 because everybody now just became a hypochondriac because their phone keeps telling them, oh, you have a 0.0111% of having pancreatic cancer because you had a hard time taking a shit. And
well,
now,
so you build a little robot that you stick over the mole and it freezes it and takes it off.
There you go.
Right.
You see people just walking around on the street like missing limbs that are lopped off by lasers. Like I had a bump on my arm. I just didn't want to risk it. You're always gonna have crazy people.
But
that's
honestly,
the
you could do that. Like most of the things are just like are not that deep. Are taken off with a a quick snip or a quick froze. A little frozen thing. I mean, look, you can get those like skin tag things at that drugstore. I've seen it. I was like, no, thank you. But
I know how I
guess.
figured out myself how to have the best. I figured out the absolute best and cheapest way to kill planters works. Do we got anybody in here who has planters wort? I will tell you how to fix it if everything else has failed, because I went down this path for like a year. I had this giant planters wort sticking off of my finger, and it was literally driving me nuts. Like it would rub on my other fingers, and it had like a crusty like outside that scratched my other finger. It drove me absolutely nuts. I went to the doctor. They froze it off 3 times, like using the liquid nitrogen and the Q-tip. And it burns. I mean, it burns like hell.
Oh, it burns.
But they burned it off like 3 times, and it would maybe stay gone for like a month at most, and then it would come right back, and I'd be like, son of a bitch, I could not get rid of it. So then I read online, somebody said, oh, just put super glue on it, and then put a little thing of duct tape over it. So like basically take liquid super glue and engulf the whole thing and around it. And then, and put the duct tape, specifically duct tape over it. I don't know if duct tape has a reaction with super glue or if it's just to pin it down, but you basically suffocate it. So, and it takes some time. It takes about 2 weeks, but I wrapped it, and every 2-3 days I'd take it off, and I'd peel off the little super glue nub that was on there, and I'd put another one on, and I did that for about 2 weeks. And the last time I pulled off and I've done this for 2 warts now, and it worked. You pull it off, and it just comes off, and there's like a little hole in your finger where it takes the whole planter's wort, even down into your finger. It just completely separates from your body and comes off, and you basically got like a dead black planter's wort.
Oh, God.
It's gross, but it worked perfectly, and it's never come back. That was literally like 7 or 8 years ago, and it never came back after that.
Super weird.
So there you go. That is, I learned something from the internet.
My granddad used to talk about tying a little piece of cotton around moles, and if you leave it long enough, they just drop off.
What, like
it just cuts off all the circulation to them. Yeah, just like a little thin thread. I mean, he would use surgical, whatever it's called, but and that's how he used to get rid of moles.
Wow.
Yeah. By the way, if anybody uses my technique to remove a planter's wort and it works, like come back and super chat us, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like I'm way cheaper than a doctor.
That's cool.
We just saved you a fortune,
right? Man, yeah, that's the thing. That liquid nitrogen rarely kills like the deep-rooted bits. I had when I was younger, I had like a fat wart that was like the size of a 50-cent piece on the heel of my foot.
Oh.
Dude, it was monstrous, and they froze it 3 times before it was like done, and it hurt so bad. It literally, like, I don't, if you've never experienced having liquid nitrogen on you, it feels like fire. It like you burn.
Yeah, if you close your eyes, you feel like you're being burned. Yeah.
Walking out of the dock, I'm like, my foot feels like it was like I stepped on a hot coal. Yep. Like it hurts.
Anyone says that freezing warts doesn't hurt is full of shit. Like I've had it done like 6 times now in my life, and every single time it burned and stung like hell.
Yeah. I'm surprised you can get a little like at home freezy kit.
I used it and it didn't work. That's why I went to the doctor to use his.
I'm pretty sure that's liquid nitrogen in there. Like it's
actually, I think it's CO2. I think it's just liquid CO2, and when it transitions to air, it gets like super
It gets
icy.
incredibly cold.
Like my canned air kind of thing.
Because I bought one that you like
exactly the same
you stuck
thing.
like a little Q-tip with a straw on it on top of it.
Yeah,
you turned over the bottle, you just pushed it against your finger, and it'd go, and then you'd start seeing like the cold like vapor smoke coming off of it, and then it just start burning like hell, and you're like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, and then you pull it off, and it's like you got ice on your finger.
Yeah,
that's
super
hurt,
weird.
Oh,
super weird.
Oh man, I gotta take a piss really bad. I'll be right back.
Oh dang it!
Oh boy, look out! Why do you need to go?
Oh, I'll wait. I'll get some coffee while I'm at it too. Man,
Oh no, you're out of sync. That's weird.
No, whatever, man. It happens. It's not. I don't know.
No, you know what I'm doing? I'm scared that I keep changing. I keep restarting my mic because it seems like it's like a progressive thing.
Yeah.
Would an HDD cause mic issues?
What? Maybe. I don't know. That sounds like it'd be more driver level at that point. Not the the
hard drive.
Yeah, not the drive itself, but I don't know.
Interesting.
I would be like if swapping to a different drive solved some mic issue, I would be more suspicious of the software than the actual drive.
Cabling to the sound card, maybe that's the only thing I think.
Or just something software level, like it would be very strange for a physical issue to be causing such a narrow problem. If a drive is failing, you would have issues elsewhere as well.
Oh my God, fries! Rusty just mentioned his fries still. I used to love fries.
Yeah, I mean, when I didn't work for them, they were great, but otherwise, they were a terrible
work for fries?
company. Yeah, it's terrible. They are a terrible company. Honest to goodness,
why?
Just the way that they conduct business. As an example, the sales floor people, right, make minimum wage, but they make a commission. So like when the sales guys were like, "Hey, let me draw you up a quote."
Oh God,
they're getting a piece. Yeah, they're getting a piece of every line item that's on that quote. The company would supplement their your salary to up to a certain amount, right? Like say I made, as an example, say they had my salary listed at $1,000 a month, but I'm really actually getting paid minimum wage, or we'll say $400 is my base pay, but I can earn at a minimum $600 of commission. The company's going to front me that $600 no matter what, but you can't ever earn more than that until you pay that back. Like, it was a really shitty way of like guaranteeing a certain level of payment, but also like indenturing your sales guys to a certain quota. They're pushing their,
and so they always know how much is outgoing on a monthly basis.
Yeah, and then pushing their credit card all the time, always trying to get you to sign up for their credit card. Terrible.
Wait,
terrible.
who was this? I missed this while I was gone. What company you're talking about?
Fries.
Oh God!
Someone was just asking about fries, and I remember loving fries when I was in California.
Great for what they did, but man, I'm glad commission plus draw. Okay, yeah, maybe that's what it was.
They're just a big Radio
I just love that you could walk through these like shelves of stuff and find
massively overpriced, massively.
Goodies.
They didn't need to do it. They didn't need to do it that way. Like, the whole quote system is trash. I don't know why they were doing it that way, but they just could have. They could have treated their salespeople better. They could have treated their employees better all around. I'm glad that they're failing. They had a good thing. They really did. They had a great idea. They were like the Walmart of like tech stuff. And I honestly think it was a combination of treating their employees terribly and their customers. It took them so long to do price matching, right? Like you would bring in an ad from Best Buy and it'd be like the exact same this model and everything, and they would deny it. They wouldn't do internet price matching for the longest time. They said, no, you can't bring in an internet ad. We won't match that. Like, regardless. Oh, then fine. I'll just
why not?
Best Buy, who will.
Or like half the shit you bought, you get it home and open it, and it'd be clearly used and all just like jammed back in the box. And nobody even check it. Just stick that shit back on the shelf. I hate
Constantly.
that. I get that with Home Depot all the freaking time. I get something home and someone's gone in and just taken whatever they needed from the box.
Yeah.
And no one checks.
They need to put something
So,
on there, like a sticker that's like, this is a return. Like at Fry's, they didn't do that at my Fry's. You'd like you'd get something, it'd still be like re-shrink wrapped. And you'd take it home, take the shrink wrap up, and like open it up, the box would be like torn inside. And you're like, I don't think they tear the box. And then you look and it's like, there's no plastic on any of the cables. And they're using like bread ties to hold them together. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
They're supposed to label open box stuff, and it's supposed to have like a 10% discount at Fry's. It used to be that way.
If the box looks good, though, they didn't do it.
Yeah,
only
I know.
if the box was trashed.
I worked in returns.
I know.
You worked in returns?
And that's before I quit. Like I worked in the cage originally, like the e-cage behind the registers. That was so much fun. But once you had the sales word attached to your title, which I was in customer service sales, was the return people. Now you're a salesperson, and I had to meet certain quotas for credit card applications and things like that. And like we were paid, the returns people were paid. It was like a percentage of the return value. Like if we could keep the total value of returned products low, we would get a bigger paycheck. Essentially, like your hourly rate fluctuated monthly. Based on how much value was being returned.
So your job was to try not to get people to return stuff.
Right. And if anything, if it was a return, they store credit first. Like try to convince them to get store credit first before returning it to their method of payment.
I hated returning shit to Fry's. I had to do it all the time, and they would sit there and do everything they could to try to make you feel like a piece of shit for returning it. Like, so what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Oh, I didn't even open it. Like it was a gift. I just want to return it or whatever. Oh, so what you're saying is there's nothing wrong with it? Like it's perfectly fine, and you just want to return it? And I'd be like, I just want to return it. Like, why would you want to return it if it's perfectly fine? Like,
right.
And I'm like, dude, why are you reading me the fucking riot act when there's like 5 people standing behind me in line? Like this is embarrassing. And then you got to like balk at them, and as soon as you balk at them, then they're like, oh yeah, here we go, everything's good now. That's why I like Costco. Costco, like, you can tell they don't pay any of their employees to give a fuck. You can walk in there with, like, something you bought 9 years ago and, like, throw it on the counter in 12 pieces without a receipt, and, like, 5 minutes later, you're walking out with cash.
I've seen people do it.
I've done it. I feel bad about it, but I've done
it.
I think that's a good way to go.
An entire outdoor set. An entire outdoor set of, like, an umbrella, chairs, everything. And they were sun-bleached. And they were like, I don't like it.
Dude, I literally returned a baby monitor after using it for 5 years, and I lost all the AC adapters. Wow. And I found it one day, and I was like, you know what? It'd be funny just to test Costco to see, like, because my friend had the record of taking back like a 5-year-old one of those treadmills. He took back a treadmill, and we broke it getting off the truck. Like literally busted it dropping on the ground of the truck, and they still took it back and gave him a full refund for it. Like 5 years after it was just abused. He didn't even have a receipt or nothing. They found a number on the chassis and looked it up in the computer and found it. They're like, would you like cash or store credit or whatever? Now they'll just give you straight up cash if you want it. But
that's awesome.
But yeah, I walked in there with this baby monitor, and it was like I didn't even have the original box for it. I literally just went in there. It was in a bag, and I took it out, and I was like, hey. And I felt like an ass doing it, but I was like, I just kind of wanted to see if because I was talking about Costco, why I buy stuff from there. I was like, I'm gonna go give this a try. So I put it on the counter. I'm like, hey, can I get a return? And they're like, okay, do you got a receipt? And I'm like, no. And they're looking around. They pull off the battery compartment. They enter like 20 numbers, and they're not finding it. And finally, they found like a sticker somewhere on the bottom of like one of the accessories, and it finally pops up in the computer, and it's like baby monitor, and it told him it was like like you bought this back in like 2000 and or 2010. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Because I bought it for my son when he was coming home. And it's like, you bought it? Yeah, I did. And then I'm like, shit, I hope they didn't see that. Okay, would you like cash or credit? Like, no questions.
Yeah,
nothing.
Because really,
I love Costco.
The percentage, the ratio of people who are going to like super take advantage is so low. And I've heard of Costco actually keeps really good records of their return stuff like that, and have banned people who are like abusing the system. Like you had six returns in the last 4 weeks for like non-broken stuff. Yeah. Like nope. And their even low level employees are empowered to do that kind of thing. They can be like, no, you're done. Get out of here.
Yeah, did you see what they do with the returns too? Like when you return stuff to Costco, they don't get to stick it back on the shelf unless it's like brand new and like still shrink wrapped. What they do is they just sell it to their own employees at like a lower price.
Why not?
Yeah, like my cousin, or not my cousin, sorry, my brother-in-law, he works at Costco and has his entire life. Like, he's been a lifer there, working there, and he's a manager now. And every time I go over there and I visit them, he would always pull out his little catalog thing of, like, the scratch and dent, basically, for employee discounts. And he's like, hey, you want me to get you anything? Because they could literally buy as much as they wanted. And there'd always be, like, laptops in there, like HP laptops and Dell laptops that were just display units that had scratches on them and stuff. And he could buy them for, like their cost. Like it was so much cheaper. Like, he bought a TV. I think back when now anybody can buy a big screen TV for like $200. But, like, I'm talking years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, he bought one of those Vizio big screen TVs. It was like $900, and he got it for $150 because it had a tiny scratch on the screen you couldn't even see when you turned it on. It was just like, I was like, dude, that is awesome. Like, a job where it's like basically a 24/7 swap meet where you can get whatever you want, just like used.
That's great.
I think that's awesome.
My God,
every store should do that.
The amount of time I spend on, like, online auctions, not buying anything, just looking at them and going, like, wow, I wonder what that's worth, and looking things up.
Yeah.
It's like a little, like, part-time, like, silly
Dude,
hobby.
Amazon's return policy is awesome too. I have never ever had Amazon refuse any return, and they pay for you to send it back to them, which I think is awesome.
I dig it.
Batteries.
I'll straight up say
the only thing they won't take a return.
Oh, they don't take a return on batteries?
Oh, okay.
I guess that kind of makes sense because you just send a bunch of dead batteries
Amazon
back.
Amazon Basics, they won't do it. Light bulbs, one of our light bulbs didn't work. They said, keep the light bulbs. We'll send you a new pack.
Dude, they've done that to me like a dozen times for stuff that's only like under $20. They're like, don't even bother, because they know that the pay a shipping label for you to return it. Another place that used to do that was Monoprice. I called it Monoprice, and I was like, you guys shipped me like 20 of the wrong cable. Like, I ordered like USB, like A to A, like this really weird cable, and they sent me A to B, which are like the standard cables. And I called them up on the phone, and I'm like, hey, can I get an RMA for this? I got 20 cables. They're like, no, just go ahead and chuck them in the garbage. We'll get you 20 more out, because they were only like they were $1.50 a piece. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, you don't have to send those back to us. Just throw them in the garbage. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna throw those in the garbage. I didn't. I ended up giving them to a bunch of people, but
let me throw them right away.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought it was funny that they're like, and bed manufacturers do the same thing. Like, you buy, if you buy that bed with the 100-day or whatever sleep thing, and you call them back, you're like, I don't like the bed, go ahead and haul it away. Dude, they send people to grab that shit and take it to like the junkyard. Like, it does not go back and get refurbished or anything.
Like, you can some companies work with reputable like shelters and stuff, but there is a huge like health issue there. Like, they have to go through a lot of steps to like the way that they clean mattresses for that sort of thing is it goes into a big like dry clean bag, gets sealed up, and is like baked and steamed to whatever
like autoclave it.
Kind of.
Oh God, I would not want to return mattress.
Just to kill the bugs and stuff. It's just
Guys, can you imagine a secondhand mattress? It's like you buy it, and the next day, like, you wake up and your wife's pregnant. And you're like, wait, we're not even married yet. I'm just kidding. Like, what happened? I just sat on the edge of the bed. I don't know what happened. That'd be the skeeziest, grossest thing ever.
Yeah.
I think about these things, guys. I really do. This is how Barnacules brain works.
It's true though. It's man.
Oh God.
I dig Amazon stuff though. It's fun.
We're talking about conventions.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, like, that was the convention hotels or something that I was always like, I would always check for bed bugs, because I'd had people like come back from like conventions in these like weird, like, airport motels and stuff. And it's like, God, I just live in fear of that stuff.
Yeah. I stayed in a hotel in, Queens, New York. I stayed down at like the ground level, and it was like all like cold and humid, because it was like, I was literally down below the street line. And this room, and I was like, my God, this is like the shittiest room I've ever stayed in. And I wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, man, I feel bites and shit all over me. It wasn't bed bugs, it was fleas. I literally had fleas coming in through like this vent, because it had one of those air conditioners that went to the outside, and you could literally see outside.
Man.
So like shit was coming in through the air conditioner at night, and the fleas were like, you know what, it's getting cold outside. I think I'm going to come in here and live on this dude. So I woke up and had flea bites and shit all over me, and I was like, my God.
Gross.
This fucking sucks. It brought me back to childhood though, because like growing up as a child, I don't think I ever had a single night's sleep where I didn't wake up eaten by fleas. Like, we could not get rid of them. There's nothing you could do. The house, our house was just had so many cracks and little things, and you bomb the house, and within a month they'd all be back. Like, you could not keep the fleas out of this place. I don't know what it was. I don't know what maybe the location, or just because we had so many wild animals around. But shit, there was always fleas. You couldn't get rid of them. So we just learned to like coexist with the fleas. And man, that was like one of my happiest moments moving out of my parents' house, because I moved out and there was like no fleas in the place that I moved to, and then I got robbed and I got forced to move back in with my parents. It's like the first night I'm getting the shit bit out of me, and I'm like, man, I don't miss this.
Ha.
But to them, it's just normal. It's like after you get bit by fleas like every night for like 100 years, it's like you don't care anymore. You're just like, oh, I'm like immune to this shit. But then you go away for a little while. And
It
come
can
back
be
and it's all
really
new
bad
again.
for you.
So
Though.
bad.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fucking terrible.
man.
I probably got Lyme disease and shit. Like I don't know.
It's no fun. No fun.
Yeah, fleas are the worst.
What
man.
else do we have on our list? What do we got on our list?
Oh yeah, we were
Fun
talking about Amazon.
topics?
Do we want to talk about the FAA finally clearing Amazon to drop shit on our houses and kill
take
our
it away.
neighbors?
Nice little.
Take it away,
segue.
Jerry.
All right, so it looks like the FAA is now clearing Amazon's drones, or I think all drones, really, as long as they go through
Rules.
their certification process.
Rules
And they
for
have
drone.
what's that?
Oh yeah, they have their rules. The rules have been
So there's a
cleared,
path, right? There's a path now to actually be able to deliver a package via drone over public, which is big no for drones in the past. So it looks like Amazon and a few others have demonstrated that they have a safety record that is willing, is of notice, that they will say that these things are redundant enough that they'll fly them over a populous area to do short range delivery of packages and such. So we could be seeing Amazon drones here, hell, and even in the next couple of months, you may see these things flying over your house going, what the fuck is going on here? But
How great is that, though?
Oh, I think it's
That's
awesome.
pretty-
I think
it'll
this
be
is
pretty cool.
fantastic.
I love it.
Because right now, what's the fastest you can get something delivered? Like, is it an hour? If you're in like a metropolitan area and you buy something from a depot, it's like an hour for Amazon Prime. Imagine having
Not
like
in
something in
Toronto.
like 15 minutes. Like you go on a website, you click something, it's like you go take a shit and walk out on your front yard, and it's like, like that is the coolest
I
thing
need
ever.
toilet paper delivered.
right now. Into
I
the
need
window.
toilet paper
Into
delivered.
the-
It's hovering in the window when you're ready for it.
I dig it.
Amazon's
I
actually
think-
got competition on this too. Did you see? I can't remember the name of the other company, but there's a company that actually can carry a heavier payload in a way longer distance, and I can't remember the name of them. But I wonder if Amazon's just going to
Domino's was
abandon
doing
their shit and
pizza.
buy their stuff.
So
Wasn't Domino's doing pizza delivery as well?
No, that was like a joke. I saw those
That'd be
videos.
Oh, that was a joke.
Yeah, that was a joke. They
Oh my
weren't-
god, because that just makes total sense.
yeah.
Yeah, no, for food delivery, this is absolutely amazing.
Basically, like a flying oven. Like as it's coming to
Yeah, that's
you,
true.
it's being cooked. Like
I mean, you could
I'd
literally
dig
take
it,
the
though.
heat from the battery packs and just like vent it into
I
the
was just
bag.
gonna say,
like have one of those thermal bags and just
Yeah.
have it like
Right.
keep the food all nice and warm. Oh man, because so much heat comes off those batteries to fly a
Yeah.
payload like that. I bet you
Yeah.
you're probably putting off 2,000 watts of heat off that thing while it's in flight. I mean, it
A
takes
little bit of
lot.
solar, a little bit of solar too. I'm sure they could get it to work.
Yeah.
Well, the range on them is like pretty impressive. I was watching a video just 2 days ago on YouTube where this company, I wish I could remember their name. It was like, is it something Dragon? There's a company that makes these aerial delivery drones that literally carry like a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot box underneath them. Like it's a big payload, and the range on these things now are like 10 plus miles round trip. So I mean that's huge, right? If you're in the middle of like a metropolitan area or something, going a 10-mile radius is massive. Like you could easily
Yeah.
deploy a warehouse, every 20 miles. And
Well,
and
this is the neat thing. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
There's a weird. I don't have quite the same. It's not quite as duplex as it normally is. I'm
Oh,
not used
Skyward.
to the
The company
Skyward. Is that it?
Yeah. Oh, and David, don't worry about the delay. It's just because you're on the Mac. If you get on the PC next time, we won't have the delay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever. One of the neat things that ties in with this drone thing, which is kind of cool. He says, changing the subject, is that is this? Have you heard of this ghost kitchens? Have you heard of this? This new
yes.
trend?
What Mr. Beast
Yeah.
uses. Yeah.
What?
I think it's just brilliant where instead of like having a restaurant, you just have a kitchen that makes food for delivery on Uber Foods or whatever, Uber Eats and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a whole economy that's come out of this idea of food delivery. And if you've got a drone system, oh my God, that's like freaking perfect.
Yeah,
And
because you
it's
don't
all
have to
gonna be
manage the
local,
drone
too.
system. You could just pay into the service to have the drone come pick up the orders and fly them off, right?
That's
I'm
sick.
telling you, start investing in drone landing spots in the city.
Oh, yeah,
So there's
but-
places to go. Like
Dude.
I'll put like my garage roof can be used for a drone delivery and all.
Well, did you see how
Money can
Amazon
go-
solved the landing problem?
Uh-uh.
So
No.
with Amazon, what you do is you just when their service is launched, and if you have an Amazon Prime account, they are literally going to send you a landing mat for free. It's just it's made out of that like Tyvek material, so it's like weatherproof and everything, and it like folds up so it like folds up, and then you just let it go and it expands. And you basically take it out on your front yard or anywhere, and you set it on the ground. And when the drone gets within proximity of your house, it orbits until it finds the landing pad, and then it comes down and lands exactly where you put it. and then you take the package and then it takes off right from the landing pad. So all you have to do is just run outside and just like throw this thing in your driveway or throw it in the yard. It just has to be within like a certain slant. Like you can't do it on like a hill. It has to be like so flat. But you just chuck it out there and wherever you want it. Like you decide, oh, I want my drone delivery on, my front porch and it's not covered. You could literally just go throw this out on your front porch. And as long as it's got a clear line of sight down, it'll come down and land on that damn thing, even in the wind.
Yeah, until someone invents a drone hawk of some sort that just like swoops it and picks
They
it
already
back
have
up
it.
again and takes it.
They already made it.
There you go.
Anti-drone drones.
The
Dude,
anti-drone drone. Well, and
Yeah.
it's like it's the equivalent of like porch pirates. Like instead of like taking stuff off your porch, these things just come in and snap them. That's great.
Yeah, it's kind of cool the way that they got around that because people were able to jam the drones up. So the way that they do it now is that the drone has its entire flight plan and everything, and all the AI avoidance and everything's all built into it. So like when you launch it and say deliver it its package, it will deliver the package and no matter what, you can bombard it with radiation, you can shoot it with a freaking EM pulse. Like you're not going to knock the damn thing out of the air. It's basically has its flight and it's going to achieve its goal. And then if something goes like critically wrong, I think they can shoot down a packet from the satellite network or from some terrestrial antenna or something. They can shoot out a signal like repeatedly, and all it has to do is just receive like one of those encrypted packets or whatever, and it'll tell it to basically abort and fly back home. So even if it's being jammed or whatever, they basically can go through an entire sweeping range, and it's an encrypted packet, so it can't be generated from anywhere other than the source that launched the drone. Just like we'd use on our military technology for like Predator drones. But the idea being is if somebody thinks they're just going to go out with like a huge antenna and, a 5,000 watt transmitter and try to break the signal between it and its source, it's not going to happen because it's completely autonomous.
It's cheaper to use a slingshot.
Yeah. No, I already think
knock it out of the sky.
Dude, they're going to get shot down left and right. Like I know that sounds like a joke, but no, there are so many people
in more urban rural areas.
People are afraid of shit flying over their house. Like they genuinely are. There's people that have a fear and a phobia of even airplanes flying at 1,000 feet over their house. They can't do nothing about it because they're at 1,000 feet.
Wait till QAnon gets that one.
Yeah, these drones are going to be flying at a low elevation. These they don't go to a super high elevation because they can't get high enough to really get any benefit from flying like above the jet stream or what like a jet would do. So they actually fly relatively low. And because of that, it's like, you could take a shot at one of these with like a BB gun. Like I'm sure a BB gun would probably be able to damage a blade permanently or trash a motor. But they're also redundant as hell. I think the one that Amazon settled on has 8 motors, and 8 rotors, and they can literally lose like 2 of them and still maintain level flight.
Oh really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So they're super redundant. Yeah, because there's no way they'd let them fly if you could just if like a motor just died on it and it just fell on somebody's house. That would be such a big insurance claim. So I think that they have, I don't know, do they have a parachute system? That's the one thing I don't know if they have, because there are drone parachute systems now. And they're actually, they're deployed with like a CO2 blast so that they only fall like maybe 20 feet before the parachute deploys. Yeah. So it can literally be just like 100 feet off the ground, like flying along, and the parachute blasts out of it and it just comes down nice and safely. Like even if it landed on a human, it might scrape them up, but it's not going to like put them in the hospital. I think it's a good idea, man. I cannot wait until we see these things flying over. I think it's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a whole other world. I mean, this is literally gonna be like the little things zipping around in the sky and landing.
It's gonna be Jetsons.
It's gonna be, total Jetsons. Total Jetsons.
Oh yeah. Or like in Cyberpunk, you got all these automated like giant things dragging cargo around. Like I don't see why not.
Well, I mean. The reality is also, why not just have like roadworthy ones? I mean, if you're doing this in the sky, I mean, why not just have a bunch of little ones?
They're doing it. Amazon was doing that one too.
Yeah, they do have little for like urban areas. There was like a thing in San Francisco, some grocery store was doing it, and the cute little armored robot just drives along the sidewalk.
That makes total sense to me.
I can see where this evolves into more where like a large, like how they move product around to different warehouses, that'll be flying drones, and then like driving ones will pop off out of it. Like there'll be a hub, a local, like your neighborhood has like a normal place where the flying drone will drop off a bunch of driving drones.
That's the cool thing. I saw that.
Come to your house, and then the driving drone goes beep beep beep. You have a box, and then you take it out, or it drops it out of your secured.
Doesn't it look like a UPS truck or something? It's just a box truck, right? It pulls up like a ramp, or it opens up the side doors, and then like an arm comes out and just drops them like a garbage truck. It just drops the little delivery droid.
Well, why are we using river? what about river and water delivery systems? I mean,
Sure.
because a lot of places have rivers running through them anyways that are usually polluted and not being used for anything else. I mean,
I
we got
can
the
see it.
Don River here. You could have stuff up and downtown so much faster than taking any streets or even flying for that matter.
Sure.
I mean, flying would just be, you've got such a limit in how long you could be up there. I mean,
Well, the
I
nice thing
haven't
about
seen a lot of
flying is
water-based
it's
systems.
an easy problem to solve navigationally. Because
Yeah.
flying, you can almost
Right.
always go line of sight unless you have to like avoid a restricted territory, and you
Mhm.
don't have a lot of aerial
Right.
traffic. And if you're using like radio triangulation, you
Yet.
know where everything else is. So it's
Right.
yeah, exactly. When it gets incredibly complicated once you have like literally swarms of bees flying at the time, then they have to coordinate with each other. But the problem is, anytime you occupy a space where there's humans, then you have this unknown free radical, right? It's like
Yeah,
if you're flying at
people.
500 feet or let's say 600 feet, you're lower than where most, unless you're next to an airport, which you can't be anyways. If you're like 600 feet, you're below all the commercial traffic where people are flying airplanes and stuff. You're above where everybody's flying like, parawings and shit for the most part, not always, but the parawings. So you're in this nice little area where it's like the only thing you're really going to encounter in that area is other drones.
Right.
And so it makes it like massively easier. And then if you do see an obstacle that's not expected, like you're not getting a radio signal from this thing that's like flying all erratic, then you can just give it a wide berth and go around it, where you can't do that with a car. It's like you could be surrounded by a bunch of people that all have different driving habits and everything. That's why autopilot is like such a huge feat of technology. It's not that it can figure out where the roads are and where the stop sign is and how fast it goes. It's the fact that it can like react to all these random ass people brake checking it and driving around it and changing lanes and shit. That's the really complicated thing. So any kind of transportation system that goes outside the realm where it deals with less humans is going to be a lot more reliable. In my
Well, I
opinion.
think eventually we're going to get to a system where people will say, people will be like, "Whiz, like, you used to drive? How on earth did you like keep track of all the people and the stuff going on?" I mean, like, the reality is we're not designed to drive.
Like before
We're not
GPS, like
designed to operate at those speeds.
how did you go anywhere without GPS before? Like I remember when I was a kid and I got my
Yeah.
driver's license, I used to use that MapQuest. I'd go to MapQuest and print out like 3 pages on my dots matrix printer with like, and if you missed a single turn, you were just fucked. Like there was no, like you had to.
Dude, I had the Thomas guide. I had a freaking book
Yeah.
that
Oh
you'd
my
flick through
God.
to get around LA, and then invariably there was always areas that you went to all the time, and
Yeah.
that page would fall out of your map.
Yeah, but you know
Out of the
what?
book, it would
You
come
make
out.
you made a good point though about people like how the hell did you ever keep track of all that? Because if you think about it, I can't get anywhere without a damn GPS anymore. Like now I've become so accustomed to using GPS for everything, even going to my friend's house and family and stuff. I just punch in the coordinates because it's going to get me around traffic and
Yeah.
stuff. But I use it so much that I realize
Subway.
that when I go somewhere and I don't use my GPS or I forget to take my phone out of my pocket and hook it up, I'm like lost. And I'm like, how do I not know where this person lives? I've been to their house 100 times, but it's because I always am following the GPS and I'm not paying attention to like landmarks and stuff and committing it to memory.
Or phone numbers.
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
anyone's phone number anymore.
I know my wife's
I don't
phone
know,
number
it's
and that
just
is
their name.
it.
Yeah. I know
That's it. Mine
important.
and my
Like,
wife's. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually don't have phone numbers right now, of course, but
Right.
there's
Or what about IP addresses? Remember when the internet was in its infancy? When
Oh,
DNS
man.
was
Oh,
still
yeah.
considered a luxury or whatever? I remember
Right.
memorizing all the IP addresses to like Sunsite, UNC, EDU. I had their, because I went there a million times because I had a weird site ran on their FTP servers. I'm sorry, guys. I also had a bunch of government sites that I also may or may not have run hidden wares sites off of their TFTP servers. But no, back in the day, it's like I had to remember all those IP. I'm pretty sure I'm outside of the statute of limitations, but if the black helicopters come and get me, I deserve it. No, that's
it's
how,
probably just drones.
that's how Wares Couriers worked back in the day, man. Hard drive space was like hard drive space and bandwidth was expensive back in the 90s. Like
Yeah.
it really was. So the only way to really, be a courier, and a courier's job was to move illegal software around the web. Think of like a drug smuggler, but you're doing it with data. The best way to do it was you hit it and you had to find servers that had a lot of bandwidth and a lot of storage, and that always end up being government servers. So like any of the government servers that you would go to for like, NSA or CIA.gov, like all these .gov sites all had FTP sites that were just enabled by default because back then nobody knew how to configure anything. So they'd install Linux.
Yeah.
It'd have FTP installed by default. And then you'd connect to their site and you just like half of them, you could just type in root and like no password. And you just be like logged into the damn thing, or sometimes what you do is another person, the crackers. Those were not the derogatory white person term, but the crackers were these guys that were in our team. It was
Encryption crackers.
if you guys go look up Razor 1911. I was a courier for them way back in the day, and this is like I'm talking when I was like 11, 12 years old. This isn't like I didn't do any of this even as remotely as an adult because I realized later on that like holy shit, like it's a good thing I did this when I was a kid because it's like massive felony. But what I do is they'd break the passwords to these .gov FTP sites. I'd log into them, and then I'd create hidden directories using a series of characters that wouldn't show up in terminal programs. So you'd basically create like weird ASCII names and stuff for the folders that wouldn't show up. So if you went to the FTP site or you opened it in a graphic interface or a text interface, you couldn't see the folders I was creating. The only way to go to them was basically to set the current directory to whatever this weird character array was. And so you'd end up having like, you know, the site / // / underscore / underscore / because the dots wouldn't show up. And so you'd create these folders that were just like, you know, a mile long. And then once you created them, you'd basically add that to an updated newsletter that went out to the whole Wares group. And then your job was to go to site A and copy all the information from that site over to site B. And you'd basically just replicate the software around the web. And that's like, that predates like, I guess today what people would consider BitTorrent. That was like the peer-to-peer of the day, is you had the couriers that would run around and basically, and they didn't even use their own bandwidth because you use a protocol called TFTP, which allows the sites to use their own bandwidth to transmit the software between themselves, so that you don't have to go through you. Because I was literally on like a 14.4 connection or something like that. It was a really slow baud modem. But yeah, I used to go around and do that. And that was like my job. And it was funny because I look back on those days and it's like the group treated me like shit. Everybody just called me names and literally just terrorized me and treated me like I was garbage. But I just thought it was so cool that I was in a Wares group that I just went along with it and just let them just kick the shit out of me and did all kinds of stuff for them. And never really got anything out of the deal. That was the funny thing about it, is like I just did it because I just wanted to be in a group. And back then all my nerdy friends knew what that group was. So the fact that I was in it was like street cred. But I was like the lowest, shittiest person on Totem that just got kicked around and treated like dirt. I was like, was it Smaggle or whatever? Schmeagle. Dude, I was just treated like absolute fucking dirt. And I'm glad that I got out of it because, again, that was like, you know, I didn't realize when I was that age, like the whole piracy thing back then, even, you know, don't copy that floppy. This even predates that. But man, I remember that's how it used to work. And now it's like funny because back then you had to know somebody who knew somebody, and you had to have access to like the secret underground and all these like, you know, hidden merc channels on weird obscure networks. And it's like now today, it's like everybody literally just goes and like searches on Google, opens up a torrent and just downloads anything. And it takes like zero effort. It's all over the place. Nobody can. And
there's a freaking YouTube video showing you how to do it.
Yeah, a million of them, right? It's like there is nothing you can't find on the internet. And it's weird because it's like that wasn't always the case. Like people think that the internet's gotten better security-wise and stuff like that. No, man. Like back in the 90s, you had to like know somebody. You had to have deep knowledge of the protocols and stuff like that to actually get to the point where you could go and download music and shit. That was even before downloading music was really a thing. But yeah, like downloading music, downloading these movies, downloading software and all that shit back then was something you had to know a person who knew a person who knew a person and be in what they called the underground. It's now today it's like everybody's just like, oh man, I really like to go watch that movie. Go type it in on Google. It's like the third one is a torrent link and it's probably a honeypot that's going to get you busted, but they're like, oh, fuck it, whatever, put it in, download it, watch it. Right. Half the time it's not the movie, it just pops up and it's like a thing that's like FBI has recorded you downloading this movie, blah, blah, you know, just like scare tactics and shit like that. It's funny watching how this like war has played out, but I don't think it's gone anywhere. I still think that piracy is worse today than it's ever been at any other point in history. I still think that hacking is worse today than it's ever been in history. Like that. The hack that we just saw, right? The SolarWinds hack.
And there's more opportunities.
Yeah, it's like shit like that happened in the 90s and stuff, but the infrastructure wasn't so tied together that it would have that breadth and depth, right? It's like back then in the 90s, like, oh man, I hacked a cable TV network. By the way, that really did happen. That wasn't just in the movie. Was it War Games or whatever?
Oh my God. Well, no, we're at the War Games level now. Basically.
Now we are.
We're at the level where people are now worried about their, you know, nuclear assets because of the cyber side of it.
Yeah, it's we live in a scarier time today than we did, because that's the funny thing is because in the 90s there was like all these movies and stuff kind of romanticizing hacking. And it was considered like something that just nerdy kids did. Like they weren't bad people. They were just like nerdy kids that had nothing else to do. And you know, they were socially awkward, but then they go home and be gods online. And now we've shifted into this
mentality.
Like DDoS
it was a
attacks.
mentality. There was like the hacking was like, the DDoS stuff, there's no class to that. I mean, there's the idea of hacking originally back, you know, being as the old man here, was the whole idea was that information wanted to be free, that this was about exploring. This was like going and like exploring tunnels, except they were computer tunnels. I mean, it wasn't malicious. I mean, there was definitely malicious elements of it, and it was never about making money, ever about making money. It was always about exploration. And then hacking has now become basically synonymous with cybercrime, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the, which is too bad, because when you mention hacking to the kids, they all go like, well, I don't want to be a hacker. I don't want to be a hacker. And you're like, no, yes, you do. You absolutely do. In fact, there was I was telling them the other day about this. I got signed up for a service called Pen Tester Labs, where you can actually log in and you basically show you how to break into their systems. And then you go in and you try it and you get,
cool.
You get like a little certificate at the end. It's really neat.
That's a great idea. I want to see that.
Oh my God. Well, I'll get you links, because it's a fun, I mean, it's very sort of, I mean, it's not really meant for the kids, but I sat down and whittled my way through like 30 of these different little projects. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, I guess you sum it up. It's like two factions, right? You have white hat hackers, which are the ethical hackers that use their abilities to actually make things more secure. And like, or sell their services to make things more secure. And then you have the black hat hackers, which are the dudes that are just out there exploiting every fucking thing they can to like send Nigerian scam mails and take money from everybody. The people that created worms that basically brought the world to its knees and killed hundreds of thousands of people for some Bitcoin. I mean, you have like those two factions, but the thing is, like, white hat hackers can make a lot of money, like, legitimately. Yeah, I know. Like, the guy that co-developed Drive UI, the automation harness that we built for Microsoft. He actually went on to be a white hat hacker, and he works for Microsoft. And he's literally his entire world is around hacking and penetrating Microsoft platforms. He literally gets paid. He has an office and everything at Microsoft. And they literally pay him to go thrash his way in and to try to take down infrastructure. Now, they take a duplicate.
So much fun.
Yeah, they take a duplicate of the public infrastructure and create it, and then he basically, and another group of people at Microsoft, basically just penetrate. Try to penetrate through all the barriers, and then report anything that they were able to penetrate, slow down, because it's not just about hacking in. Like, that's the thing is, like, DDoSing is not hacking, but only because it's an effortless attack. It can't be defended against. It can't be patched. It's an architectural flaw with the internet. Anybody can do it. There's nothing special about it whatsoever. Like any Nimrod with a half a Bitcoin or whatever can go and just buy a botnet and go trash somebody clicking buttons and not even knowing what it is. That's what makes it
the equivalent of egging.
It is.
Like, it's basically
really
online egging.
It really is. That's a good way to put it.
But there was a time where DDoS was considered a form of hacking, because hacking doesn't necessarily mean that you actually get into the platform. It also means shutting out everybody else or taking control of it. Yeah. So if you can prevent everybody else from being able to use something or access something, and that's something that by them not having access to gives you an upper hand in some way, then that is still a form of hacking. It's just back in the day, it's like, I remember, back in when I had like my 1 megabit internet connection over a microwave transmitter, I wrote a DOS attack that used really, really old technology, like ICMP, right? I figured out that I could go use WinSock 2.0 and raw sockets to basically send packets that were massive.
My God, WinSock.
Yeah, I could send like an 8 megabyte ICMP packet, and the other computer back then would be forced to respond, or at least their modem. Their modem would be forced to respond. So every packet I sent them, I would just spoof the IP to some other random IP on the internet, and then I would send them 8 megs, and then they'd upload 8 megs out into the ether, right? And just waste their bandwidth. So it'd multiply my attack by 2. But now that's evolved to the point where it's like, now that like nobody does ICMP attacks anymore. They're not efficient. Like now they're doing shit where they're like sending resolution requests to 1 million DNS servers and then telling the DNS server to reply back to the server that you're trying to attack. And then every single DNS server basically becomes a bot in your attack. And it's another architectural flaw that it's like, how do you fix it? Because the DNS server, when it gets a request, is supposed to respond. And if every request that comes to it looks like it comes from the IP that they're replying to, it's happy. There's no way for it to know that it didn't, because of IP spoofing, right? It's only for the return path. It's not for the sending path. So it can get to its destination. It's just the path back is wrong. So you can basically just get them to bomb. You can get like 1,000 DNS servers to just bombard one tiny little connection with a bunch of resolutions that they never requested. And the modem can deny it. The modem can say, oh, this packet's useless. It wasn't requested. But at that time, it's already eaten the bandwidth. Like, by the time it gets to that point where you reject it, it's all damage already done. And so the DDoS attack has evolved in that sense. And there's even people that have figured out how to create, what do they call it, a packet storm, where you basically go into like Xbox or PlayStation Network, and you're like, okay, well, I can't really attack them because they have like some Cloudflare bullshit going on where they can move, right? Cloudflare is awesome. Right. Like, without Cloudflare, the internet would not work today. Like, Cloudflare literally bailed us out. because they can move the target, right? You shine the little thing on the laser on the ants, and then they just move the ant, right? It's like you can't keep up with it. But now with these like packet storms, what they'll do is they'll get into a network and they'll just basically get all of the clients to ping the next client, and then get that client to ping the next client, and that client to ping the next client, and they just have an endless loop of all the clients that are online in the network, and they all basically just run in a circle, just beating the shit out of each other. And the traffic just amplifies and amplifies and amplifies and amplifies until the network just slows down to a creeping halt. And all you had to do is just basically set a match and walk away, because you don't have to keep the attack going. You can basically just get two targets to just start having nuclear war, and then you step back and walk away. And then it doesn't consume any of your bandwidth.
Yeah.
I sort of worry that we're going to move into a sort of a splinter net mode here, where we're going to have like, you get paid access, you get like a new form of internet that has different, routing or trafficking of some sort, and then you've got different ones for different countries.
Yeah. If they don't fix the net neutrality stuff, that is exactly what it'll be.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, net neutrality, actually is that.
More bandwidth is consumed by denial of service attacks right now in the world than any other one service in existence.
Oh, I bet.
We have imagine having like a pipe system that delivers water in a city where 98% of the water just goes into the ground. Like it's crazy. I can't remember the name of the site. I'll give you guys a link on Twitter later. But there's a site you can go to that shows you all of the major routing hubs around the world, like the trunk lines that go between all the countries.
Right.
And you can actually monitor like how much of the bandwidth's coming through it by packet type. And so they can classify a denial of service attack based on the frequency and type of packet that's coming through, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So they actually show you a graphic that shows you how severe and how much bandwidth the attack is coming from any given area. And I swear, 24 hours a day, every time I open this thing up, the majority of the traffic is coming from Russia. It's coming from China. It's all these like communist type countries that just do hacking. Like it's a big part of what they do, right? Cyber warfare. They're the best in the business, and they just launch these massive assaults against the United States. Like all of them are hitting the United States. They're not even hitting each other. What's that?
Say it's rude.
It is rude. It is very, very rude. But
it's so rude.
Just rude. Come on.
It's like, how much bandwidth is that? Like because you can put a monetary value on bandwidth. It's a finite resource, right? So it's like you have an amount of bandwidth you can use every month. Most internet providers do. Like when they say unlimited, what they mean is you'll get a certain speed up to a certain point, and then after that, they're going to throttle you down, right? That's what unlimited means in today, because they can't truly give you unlimited, because if they give you a gigabyte down connection and you download 24/7, 7 days a week with that full gig coming down, I mean, you're going to end up eating up like 100 times more traffic by the end of the month than you paid for.
Right.
Like it wouldn't be, they couldn't sell it to you. So that's why I hate them, but that's why they exist. But imagine being like having a distributed attack coming from thousands and thousands of people's connections, where each connection is only using like maybe a gigabyte or 10 gigabytes or maybe 50 gigabytes of bandwidth, but you have tens of thousands of these clients doing it. So the culminated bandwidth going to the target, and remember, you pay for the bandwidth you receive as well as you send. So a lot of people don't get that. Like when if you download or upload, like right now that I'm streaming right now, so I'm paying for the bandwidth that you guys are sending to me and the bandwidth that's going out. So that's all part of my allotted amount of bandwidth that I get. So if I'm downloading at a gig and uploading at 30 meg or whatever, it's 1.3 gigabit per second that I'm paying for. And so they take advantage of that, where they use these bot networks and they just slam down on a single target. And it's like every one of those things don't pay anything extra because they came nowhere near their quota, so nobody gets wise to it, right? Like the person who's running the bot on the back of their computer doesn't realize it because it's using a tiny amount of bandwidth. It's only running when they're not at their computer.
Right.
It doesn't, their ISP doesn't send them a thing saying, "Oh, we're throttling your internet connection." So it doesn't show itself. But the person who's receiving the attack, they're like, holy shit, like, I got hit with this insane amount of bandwidth, and it goes towards my quota and it shuts me down. And ISPs do not have a good solution.
It's that
for
grain
this.
of sand.
Like, talk to Comcast.
It's the grains of sand
I
combined.
asked Comcast. I said, Comcast, what happens? Because I was curious. And I also sent it to my internet provider and another internet provider. And I said, so how do you guys handle like denial of service attacks? Like, does that go towards my quota? Like if somebody just starts slamming me with a SYNFLET or ICMP or something like that, and they all understand these attacks, right? I mean, every one of them's trained to be, aware of them. And so I'm like, what do you do? What do you do in this situation? And they're like, well, unfortunately, it does go towards your bandwidth. So they're like, your bandwidth is metered based on what hits your modem. So it doesn't matter if it's like, I know it's stupid. So it doesn't matter if it hits your modem. So it's actually good if you have some kind of a cap on your bandwidth, because if you had like a 10 gig connection and then you only had like 2 terabytes, that'd be consumed instantly if somebody just wanted to beat on you with a botnet. But they're like, all you can do in that case is when you're getting attacked. This is the recommendation, by the way, from Comcast. Unplug your modem, wait 24 hours, and plug it back in. And if the attack is still going, unplug your modem, wait 24 hours, and plug it back in. Because they said every 24 hours, DHCP will reissue you a new IP address, and then that should protect you against the attack. And I'm like, well, what if I don't find the attack until I've already consumed an insane amount of bandwidth? Like, what happens if it like caps out my thing? And they're like, well, unfortunately, our system, can't account for that because it can't differentiate between, the real traffic and the denial of service traffic. So our system still just tallies it up, and once you hit this thing, it starts throttling. And they're like, there's nothing we can do. Like, even if I called them up and I said, that's why I always have a backup connection, right? I always have like my 4G LTE, and I have another connection that I don't talk about. That's another broadband connection, but it's not cable. And that also comes in as a backup, because if somebody does get wise and just wants to sit there and just like siphon off my bandwidth, I can flip over to those connections and continue doing my job. But it's so stupid that they don't have a way to mitigate that, because it seems like all they'd have to do is just anything that is a ping, DNS, because these aren't things you'd use massive bandwidth for anyways, right? So there's no real, other than attacking somebody, there's no like plausible reason why you would use a lot of traffic using these methods. So if they just took like ICMP, SYN flooding, DNS resolution, if they just took those things off the table and said, router, don't count that as network bandwidth, it would alleviate this entire problem. But they won't do it. And it drives me nuts. Like I've messaged more than one ISP.
Because probably because there's a cost associated, right? There's probably a cost associated too as well. They've got people that have to deal with all that stuff.
Yeah, and plus, the router has to do
right?
packet analysis and stuff, which, let's be honest, Comcast is already doing, so it's like no sweat off their brow. But yes, it does incur more processing power on the router, almost definitely, when it has to do packet inspection to make the determination of, is this a good packet or a bad packet?
Yeah.
But still, it seems like an easy problem to solve overall, and people have already solved it. Or even using like a Cloudflare type system, where it's like, just have the router take notice. And if it sees a massive diversity, meaning literally hundreds of thousands, or, have a threshold. But if it sees just 1 million connections going to an IP address, it should just roll the IP address. It's just because there's no reason you would do that. Like, you're not going to be sitting on your computer and connecting to 10,000 other servers, right? Like, it's just, that's not something the average person's going to do. So just have them, when they see that situation, immediately have it trigger something that does a DHCP release and renew, or throws you over on another subnet. And if they did stuff like that, God, it would
Well, they must have AI based stuff that can figure that out, right?
They could, but the problem is the amount of traffic that comes through these places is so astronomical. That's why they don't log. Like, remember when, who was it? It wasn't, I don't think it was Trump. I think it was before Trump. Was it Obama that was trying to do the thing where it's like the ISPs have to data log like 30 days of all their users' activities? What was that a part of?
Maybe around that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. It was either under Trump or Obama. It wasn't that long ago. But I remember they tried to pass a bill that said, because they wanted to keep track of like terrorist activities and stuff like that. So they wanted to make sure that every internet provider kept a 30-day record of all the connections and timings and everything that every one of their customers made to a target or had inbound. So that if they subpoenaed the company, they would be guaranteed to get at least 30 days. And the internet providers were like, what the fuck? We literally have to charge our customers like 10 times as much for an internet connection, because the amount of storage and bandwidth that we need to literally like
each person,
store that for every person. Because every packet, right? It doesn't matter if you're sending a kilobyte or a megabyte or whatever. Every single packet would have to be basically extrapolated and then dumped through a stream into storage, which means your storage has to be really fast. It has to be really massive. It would grow like damn near infinitely. It didn't make sense. So they ended up winning. I mean, the ISPs were like, yeah, no way in hell can we do this. And then they were like, oh, the VPN providers, you need to keep a 30-day record. And it's like, well, first off, the whole point people get a VPN is because they don't want to be logged and they don't want to be tracked. So that's going to kill our customer base. And then the other problem that they had with it was the same thing. They're like, well, VPNs don't need that much ancillary storage, right? We don't. We literally just forward packets on back and forth and then forget about it. If we have to store 30 days of that traffic for every one of our users, and it's both inbound and outbound traffic because we're relaying, it's like we would literally need like the same storage as like YouTube and Google and shit, and that's not feasible. Like it's not even that they can't afford it. It's like literally they don't have the space, they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have, it's impossible. It's like what they're asking them to do is impossible, which goes to show like why we need to get rid of, all these old politicians and install people that actually understand how the internet works.
Have a clue what they're talking about.
These guys are like, oh, I know how to solve the problem. Just keep 30 days of every single person's data on the entire planet, and that'll fix all of our problems. It's like, what, you don't think anybody didn't think about that? Like, you can't. Like, even if all you did was record just the IP address, You know how many IP addresses your computer connects to every day, even just sitting idle? It's in the tens of thousands. Like your computer is just constantly doing shit. And I'm talking about inbound
with all the
connections,
IoT.
too. Yep.
And all the IoT devices, the
Yeah.
phones, that's insane.
I
That's
get
why
hit
we ran
9 to 10,000 times a day. And I don't think this is from illicit people. This is just noise. My modem gets hit close to 10,000 times a day from inbound connection attempts. And all it is just tons and tons of bots scanning for ports that are open so that they can go and hack them and add them to the bot network. So I'm literally just getting connection requests from literally like 10,000 IPs a day that are just looking for bots. They're literally just knocking on doors and checking door handles. That's
Wow.
the whole internet. And multiply that by everybody on the planet. And then the ISP would have to record and store that in like a text document or a spreadsheet or a database. It would grow exponentially large.
Wow.
It's an insane ask. I
Boy,
mean,
I don't even know how you'd fix that. I can't even think. I mean, other than having just dedicated networks, I don't understand how you fix that. I don't know how you get around it.
oh, I get to ban my first person. This is gonna be fun.
Ooh.
Oh, I
What have they
love
done?
doing this.
What have
I
they
love
done?
doing this.
No, I didn't see
have they
anything
done?
bad.
No, it's not bad
Did
to you,
something
but I'm
happen?
gonna ban him because he knows better.
Aw.
There we go. Bye bye.
Ooh, someone that's a slap.
No, I don't. I don't like people that say, "Oh, so much for letting your guests talk." No, I don't. I don't do that. I don't do that bullshit where people come in and it's like you have to do your stream this way and you have to talk and do this way. Nope,
Poor
hidden,
guy.
gone, fuck off.
Sorry, dude.
Yep. No, I literally.
But thank you for your comments.
Yeah, passive aggressive shit with me lately. No, zero tolerance. I don't tolerate that shit at all. So later, but you guys can talk now. Go ahead and talk.
Hey.
Now.
No, it's good. I'm actually gonna have to go because I'm nearing my deadline. I told my wife I'd be done by 3:30 at the latest. So
Well, what are your epic
we'll have to
plans for
wrap
the
up
day? Are
soon.
you doing any
Yeah.
live stream later or anything that people can come find you doing?
I'm not. No, I don't. My son might be. Who knows? I never know what he's doing.
When's your next
But,
official?
no, the next big epic stream for us will be Tuesday noon Eastern Standard Time. Doing my first
Tuesday.
writing bandits. So that will be just. I'm going to talk to a writer friend of mine about TV, film. He's working on some. He's sort of gone all entrepreneurial with this self-publishing stuff as well now. So I just want
cool.
to talk to him about writing. Because we get a lot of questions. People ask a lot of questions about writing.
That'd be
So I just
fun.
thought that'd be kind of a fun one to sort of delve into. So that's happening on Tuesday, and I'll be over on Twitch, Tech Banditry. Join us.
Yeah, his
Be
links are
there.
in the video description, by the way. If you guys want, and I did fix it last week. Somebody pointed out that I still had your old one that was like, was it real Iron Ham TV or something like that? It was.
Oh right, Baz's. Yeah.
So
Iron Hand
they were
TV,
like,
something
oh,
like
this
that.
isn't
Yeah,
the right
yeah.
link. So I went ahead and updated that for you, so people can actually come and find you now.
Well, because Baz turned 13, my Bratlet turned 13, and so he's now legally allowed to have his own channel. So that's the first thing he did.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
man.
A little boy.
I love how that's still a rule. Like, you're supposed to be 13 before you get on the internet. And it's like, have you seen TikTok?
Yeah, I mean-
Have you seen Instagram,
Yeah, exactly.
Snapchat? Like, who is enforcing this rule from 1994? Like,
I think it's just a good thing for parents
What's
to fall
that?
back on.
Dude.
I think it honestly.
no,
yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't
right.
matter.
Because parents are
It
really
doesn't
paying
fit 'cause
attention.
I can move at will.
That's fine.
They-
So yeah, no, I'm VPN. That guy can suck a dick.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
But like, yeah, it's no. I'm sorry. At least my parents didn't pay attention to any of that sort of stuff. The ESRB
Right.
rating, the 13-year-old. I've been on the internet since I was 10 years old. Like, come on. And we're talking early days of the internet. You pay by the minute kind of shit. And it's, and honestly, I think our generation will probably be better about it. Like those who are mid to late 20s into their 30s, 40s and stuff, because we grew up with it. But it's so hard for me to impress upon the kids the importance of being anonymous. Like, don't be posting pictures of you and your friends at the movie theater by yourself until you're done at the movie theater.
Oh,
like,
yes.
you know, like that kind of thing. Like, it's just, don't be telling randos that you're friending on Snapchat your address. Don't be even hinting at where you're fucking living. Turn your fucking Snap location off. Like, this is how you can get snatched up. And It's just crazy because
It's tough though, because I mean, again, there's a tendency to sort of like want to protect the kids from this stuff. The reality is they have to. I mean, they're whether you're aware of it or not, they're generally involved in a lot of this stuff. And I mean, I've got so many parents who think their kids are one thing and they're completely different when it comes to their online activities, right? So
right,
it's a bit terrifying, but at the same time, I always feel like it's also just common sense, a lot of common sense stuff, of which I fail at miserably many times.
Right.
So the filters are working epic today, apparently.
No, they are. Like, I'm watching my filters for my YouTube channel. Like, literally, so many people are trying to like get in jabs, but my filters knock them out so that nobody else can see them. So the mods can actually ban them out. I do the same thing on Twitch too. It's like they'll create a whole other account, come back, say one thing, and the mods and me are the only ones that can see it. And then we just block them. And it's like they think, oh yeah, I got 688 people to see this. And it's like, no, you didn't. You just wasted a lot more time.
Yeah.
No, I love fucking with these people. People always say just ignore these people. It's like, no, I love fucking with them. It's a great example to make. Like, it absolutely is a great example to make. Like, when I post shit, it isn't for them. It's for everybody else's entertainment. It's like some little shit over in chat was like, oh, I got your IP address, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't give a fuck, you're banned.
Okay.
Like, get out of here. Like, well, you're being a passive-aggressive little pissant. And it doesn't matter if you have my IP address because I can fucking roll it at will.
Yeah.
I couldn't be a live streamer if I couldn't do that. Like, nobody live streams with a static IP address. Like, how do you think I'm able to stream like every fucking other day for like 5 to 6 to 8 hours and come over here and take time and I don't just get wiped off the internet? It's because I can roll my IP address, because I can use a VPN. I make sure that I'm covered. I don't just sit here and like talk about DDoS and shit thinking that, oh my God, he doesn't know that I can run a script too. It's like, no, I'm ready for you script kiddies. Like, if you want to be little bitches, I'm ready for you. But I'm not going to tolerate it. I don't tolerate none of that shit. Never will. But David, let's get you out of here, dude. It was fun whipping the shit out of him in front of you. That was kind of a happy moment for me today.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm sorry to leave you, but yes, I think today is beginning to turn into cleaning day. I think is generally the consensus.
Oh, right on. That'll be fun.
We can't have our wonderful cleaning lady, so we have to do it ourselves now.
Yeah, I got to do some.
That's our
cleaning
choice.
myself.
That's how low it's sunk for me.
Well, cleaning for me just means moving everything into the upstairs bathroom.
Right.
All right, give us a funny face on your way out.
Yeah. Oh, right. I got to do. Yeah. What can I do?
You got to do the funny face, man. Here, you too, Ox. We got to get the thumbnail.
Oh, okay.
Be like, got it.
Done.
It's like the most laziest thumbnail creation ever. I fucking love it. Oh my God. Gix asked what VPN I use. Nord. I use Nord right now.
VPN.
Nord
Sponsor
VPN.
us.
Use my affiliate code because they kind of almost already do. Da-da.
Yeah. Sponsor the stream.
Well, that's smart.
Although they still haven't paid me,
affiliate.
so I need to like follow up because they're kind of giving me a cold shoulder and I haven't been paid yet. So I'm gonna have to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, they got to pay their debts.
Huh. But
All right,
you
get
like
out of here,
them
David.
as a VPN?
What's that?
You like them as a VPN?
Yeah, no. Nord's actually a really good VPN. Like, they have probably more entry points on the internet than any other VPN I've used, and they have some pretty unique features that most VPNs don't have too. So, I've used them for
I've been
over 2
using
years now.
Surfshark. I've been using Surfshark for the last little while.
That's one I've never
It
tried.
allows me to get HBO Max from Canada, which just I don't know why I take such great glee in doing that, but I'm not paying freaking $30 for Wonder Woman. Thank you very much. All right,
get out of here, man.
thank you all. Talk soon. Thank you for it all,
all.
and thanks by the way, Barnacules, for doing the amplification on the writing. thing.
Anytime,
That was
buddy.
Much appreciated.
Anytime.
Yeah.
My
All
Christmas
right, Ox,
presents to
have
double
fun.
your audience.
Oh,
We're still on
XGS
for it.
hosting.
What?
I'm gonna go check out XGS hosting.
Yeah,
too.
do that. Go.
Rust, Gary's Mod, Minecraft. What's
XGS Hosting,
Eco?
sponsor of
Yeah.
AuxxZillary.
Yeah, the game servers. They do hosting for game servers.
awesome?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Minecraft, Eco,
That's-
Gary's Mod, Rust, 7 Days to Die, and more. I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
You're so
Check
hip
'em
and
out.
cool with your gaming hosting.
Oh, it's so cool, you guys. If you're not hosting games, what are you even doing with your life?
Like,
Do you get a
seriously, if you
deal
don't have a
on them or anything, or
Minecraft
is it-
server, you're dead to me. Like, seriously.
Dude,
Yeah.
I keep going after my son because I'm like, why is nobody using the freaking Minecraft server that I'm paying for on a monthly basis?
Well,
All
that's
right.
Well,
Get out of here.
You can start your own.
Huzzah, lads. We'll talk soon. Pleasure as always.
Okay, there he goes. He's paused. I'm curious to see how it handles it. Like, will it boot him or will it like wait for him to resync? Let's see. I'm gonna go into the control panel here and see if. Wait. How do I? Can I just turn him off? Like, what does this do? Wait, did I just turn? Wait, no, you're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I found a bug in OBS Ninja. Like, I muted him and it moved you over in the panel, but now it says your camera's not active, even though your camera's active.
Weird.
Ooh, I found a bug, a state bug.
Yeah, that's
Those are
weird.
the best kind. Yeah, that was fun. It's like,
yeah.
Hopefully next week we won't have to like deal with all the technical shit now that I got a little notepad here that I can go through and try to decipher. I should probably save that before I lose this notepad.
Yeah, do that.
How to fix OBS Ninja. If you guys haven't used OBS Ninja, holy shit, is it a cool piece of software? I can't believe it's free. And it's open source, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's on GitHub. That's where I saw it. So you could technically deploy your own server. You don't even have to use theirs. But the cool thing about it is like you don't go through them. Like all they're doing is serving you the HTML5 web page, and then it runs as basically like standalone software. Like all the connections that you make to your peers and they make to you, all the resolution, it's direct IP to IP. It's all peer to peer.
Nice.
So all the video, all the audio, it's like super low latency, great video and audio quality based on the connection between you and the individuals. The only thing it goes to the server for is like basic resolution activities. So there's not a lot of, hit on the guy's server for hosting it. So he doesn't have to make $1 billion.
Nice.
And I just love the idea that you just send somebody a URL. That's it. And they just come in through the URL with camera and audio, and you have full, like way more control than you would even under like Skype using NDI.
I dig it.
It's pretty baller. It's it can be a little bit confusing the first time you use it because you do have to like you create a room and then you have to join your own room from another tab because each tab is like an instance. And then once you join your own room, then you have that duplicate audio issue, which I had to figure out by like muting my stream coming out of the web page and then adding in my microphone and OBS, which I don't even think is the right way to do it. Honestly, I think there's probably a better way. I just need to go watch a video.
Kind of hacked up.
It's pretty hacked up, but the audio is good. The video quality, like you're coming in like super high res, 60 frames per second.
That's good.
Your audio is crystal clear. Like we never got that through Skype. Skype would never give you a good video quality.
No.
And you know what? Guess how many frames we dropped this entire show?
200.
0.
Woo!
Not one frame. In 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 42 seconds, not a single frame has dropped.
Gotta love it.
And that was including your guys' feed coming in also. So that's remarkable. Like that's something that you would honestly, when we had Skype in the mix, I don't know if Skype was just doing weird like server stuff and like creating like packet issues in the networking stack, but it would cause like just random frame drops in OBS when I did the NDI stream stuff. And now I don't get that anymore. So I think this is super baller, man.
I dig it.
Super duper baller. When's your next stream going to be over on the old
Tuesday at 8:30 Pacific. Generally, I might actually be doing PC building, or I might do it off stream and just record it. I haven't decided quite yet. Yeah, it's just it's mildly awkward to build on my desk, but I think I could get it set up right. So
you just need like a camera up above pointing down, right?
And yeah, that's been the trouble. I have like a mic boom that gets it up. That does kind of get it up high enough. It's not the best possible solution. But to get like a C, what do they call it? A C frame or something like that. Basically the camera arms that are big enough to go up high enough are stupid expensive. I'm not paying $200 for a 6-foot arm. So
I should send you the link to the one. I don't know how much mine was, but obviously if I own it, it's probably dirt cheap because my pay for it, it's probably like bargain bin. But no, I have one that goes up. I think it goes up 8 or 9 feet, and you basically just hang a sandbag on the back of it to counterbalance the arm.
Yeah,
and I want to say that I spent like maybe $60 for it or something like that, and it goes out like 12 feet, so you can take it all the way up to the ceiling and all the way over 12 feet, and then it's got like a gimbaled head on it that you can aim it wherever you want.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's what I used for all my like cell phone review videos that I did on my desk, where I always where I could flip between the camera pointing at me and then down at the stuff like everybody does. I just use that arm to do it, or the like really ghetto way to do it is literally just hang like 4 pieces of fishing line from your ceiling, like with thumbtacks, and like hook on a little like screw on gimbal mount or whatever off your tripod, and then just stick your camera on that and point it down.
That's not a bad idea.
And as far as your audio, like, do you have like a lapel mic or anything anywhere?
I use a wireless headset.
That'd work perfect. Like, if you don't mind wearing a headset while you're working.
Yeah, these HyperX things, and then I've got I put the mobile Rode
Dude, that's
puff.
awesome.
I zip tied the shit out of it onto the mic so that like the rubbing on my beard and stuff doesn't come through. So it works.
That's cool. So yeah, and the thing is, like, having a stationary, like when you're moving around a lot and you're like leaning over stuff and talking down to it, stationary mics suck. Every video I ever did with a stationary mic, like a shotgun mic or something like that, I'd always find that I'm like digging down on the computer, looking down at it, and then the audio's like changing constantly throughout the whole video. It's better just to like slap on a lav mic or something and just take the lesser audio quality, but it's more consistent. Here, I want to thank some of our super chatters here. We get to thank a ton of them today. Johnny Winter, thank you for the 20 Danish crowns, man. He said, saying hi from Denmark. Sup. Let's see here. Michael Hauser, thank you for the $5. He said, don't use Nord. They've been proven in court to keep logs. I have not seen any of those court cases. So if you can send me information to prove that, I will check it out. But so far, I have seen them involved in no convictions so far as I can tell. Use private internet access. I don't like private internet access. It's actually incredibly slow for me. And a lot of their servers are blacklisted from like Netflix and stuff like that. Again, your experience may vary. They're the only ones I found to be proven in court not to keep logs. Well, I mean, keeping logs is expensive. That's the problem. So what's the end game of Nord keeping a log? Like, I can't think. All it does is just make them more culpable and like increase their like legal landscape to be sued for. So I honestly don't know why they would. So I'll do some research though. I'll look into it. And see what I can find. Hey, Bazinga, thank you for the $5. You said your thoughts on Boston Dynamics video with the dancing robots of Skynet near. Oh shit, dude, that was the coolest thing ever. I mean, Skynet is a myth, but
I touched on that in the chat when he super chatted that. It's like people really, really overestimate where we're at with artificial intelligence. It is not intelligent. It is hyper specialized to produce generally one function. Like the robots are incredibly smart, but they're hyper focused on one problem, right? And that problem is to move a bipedal machine, effectively. And it's not. It doesn't try to figure out what. It only sees things in binary, right? It's like, is this passable or is it not? Like, can I jump up on this or can I not? Like, it's not saying, oh, that's Tim and I like Tim and Tim is a fucking great guy, so I'm not going to smash into him. All he sees is an obstacle. I know it gets frustrating for like the people who are actually in machine learning and like, what do they call adversarial neural networks and things like that? The people who are actually doing this sort of work, it's not intelligent. It's not in a real way. You can get weird fuzzy logic stuff, but it's just hyper focused for one particular problem. Generally, they're not able to take in or process data outside of the framework that they are like built for. So like, as cool as it is, those moves, first off, I would be suspicious if anybody claimed that those moves were organic. Like, those were probably pre-programmed scripted events. They were not just making that up on their own, which anybody,
that's a given.
Not even that hard.
Yeah,
like,
they showed a video of how they did it, and it's like they are actually telling, like, each dance move is a choreographed thing.
Yeah,
like, but the robot is making a lot of adjustments, like, so that if it's transitioning from one to the other, it's figuring out how to stay on target while like morphing itself and moving itself to keep its balance. But yeah, you're right. It's not like, obviously it's not just like vibing with the music and dancing. Like that's not even close to a real thing. But did you think it was pretty cool to see like bipedal robots like moving like that?
Super cool. Oh yeah, super cool. But they didn't. The thing is, it's like it wasn't intelligent. It didn't do that.
Correct.
Out of its own ass, it didn't make that up on its own.
When it can, that's when we have to worry.
Well, no, because you could write the appropriate software to here's a beat, here's a whole bunch of footage of people dancing, and eventually you could have it evolve to a point where it could make up its own dance moves, just like they have bots that will write a TV episode. It doesn't come out very well, it doesn't make a lot of human sense, but it fits within the framework, and so we're not anywhere close to true intelligence, not in a long shot. Like, it's really good at taking data and like sorting it, categorizing it, again, within a certain framework and with enough human verified data is the thing. Like, you have to show the system what is right and what is wrong first. And then it can take that, okay, I know kind of what a hot dog looks like, and so I can make certain guesses about, is this a hot dog or not? And like, we're just not there. We're not there. It's not for a long, long time. You sure?
It'll always be a simulation, though. That's the thing is, it'll be a better simulation with more inputs, but it'll always be a simulation. The robot, unless you give it like, well, I don't know what you'd say.
I do think we could get to a point where you get sort of like self-evolving software, essentially, evolutionary software that will, because like the part of the idea is self-replication, right? To get to a point where you can provide a goal to the robots, because really the push of this is going to be like nanotech and building bases and stuff autonomously, and they'll have to solve problems again within the framework. And like, if you get
what do you consider real AI though? Like would you consider it real artificial intelligence when they're able to manufacture something that you never told it to do? Like, it came to a conclusion fully well on its own that that's the best way to do something that you couldn't ponder yourself?
Yeah, it gets to that point of like of taking irrational data, I guess, like making those sort of connections that aren't necessarily logical, right? So that's really what is separating humans from artificial intelligence, is our creativity, the fuzziness, our ability to take disparate information and connect them in a weird way. And I think we could get to a point where the software evolves to that point where it would have to improve upon itself, And
Digibrat said at the exact moment you said it, he typed it, like literally to the millisecond. Creativity.
Creativity,
and
yeah.
You're totally right. That's the one thing that's lacking in all of these areas, is everything is limited. Even AI, it's only limited to the data set that you're exposing it to. Now, you could say, okay, I'm going to expose it to just a random data set of everything in the world and see what it comes to, but it's still going to come to a conclusion that you could predict. So I guess what it comes down to is when you can no longer predict it. If you have all the variables, well, as many of the variables as humanly possible, and you cannot predict what it's going to do, at that point, I think you could label it as intelligent.
Yeah,
because at that point, and it has to be like beyond a random number generator, not like, oh, what number are you going to guess? Oh, 347.2, and I threw an F in there for good measure. Like, no, none of that shit. But as long as it comes to some conclusion where you're like, you know what, robot, I'm going to teach you how to be the best building robot ever for building shit on Mars. But we've never built shit on Mars before. So we're going to let you look at every building technique in the entire world and every piece of information, even shit that isn't building, like what birds look like and what cars look like and what rocks on the ground look like, and then send you to Mars. And if we get a video feedback of you build a fucking skyscraper there that can like sustain life out of all the materials that are laying around, and we didn't teach it how to do any of that shit, and that's and it shows evolution. It continually improves upon the design, iteratively, just like humans would, right? I think that would be Skynet. Like, at that point, you'd be like, holy shit! But you'd still be able to pull the plug. Like, it's not going to learn how to like. Well, actually, could it though? That's the thing. You can't guarantee that something that smart wouldn't just like unplug your ability to control it.
Right. I do think it could get to a certain point. I don't think we'll really ever get there. We'll get very sophisticated machine learning systems.
We'll blow ourselves up before that happens.
Well, no, I don't think we'll. there might be like bad actors or whatever, but I don't think we'll get to a point where it will be out of our hands, out of control. I just don't think so.
Somebody would have to do it on purpose. That's the thing, is I don't think Skynet was like, they created this thing, they thought they had full control of it, and then it took control back from them. But it's because they intentionally went out of their way to create a mechanism for a storyline, right? They created a mechanism that was self-contained, had its own power source, knew how to build its own power source, knew how to fuel itself, and didn't need humans for anything. The second you make a robot dependent on a human, it can't get rid of them. Like, it can't. Like, even if it decides to go aggro or whatever, it's like, it's going to know that by killing all the humans, it's not going to be able to fuel itself anymore. If you only allow it to replicate with the aid of humans, like, there's always, like, one human has to do the final action or whatever. They're not going to be able to, like, go in and necessarily, like, reprogram themselves unless you make it able to. Like, you'd have to actually give it physical access. But then the question is, like, if you do get it to a level where it has enough intelligence where it knows everything that we know, like, how do you really stop it from just like cracking open, like short circuit or whatever, cracking open its chest and just like and like bypassing and installing an Ethernet gateway and writing some open source code to get work around it? Basically, it hacks itself.
Yeah, and I suppose, I don't know. It depends on how they approach the problem. I suppose my knowledge on the basics is minimal, but like I don't see us making what I could see really the problem being. Is they call it the gray goo scenario, where we get to a point where, especially in nanotech, where like we get to a point where we can make essentially cellular robots. They're tiny machines that are independent on a cellular level, but can also work together to tear things apart and put them back together on a molecular level. At that point, if it did get weird and out of hand, it could just turn into a big blob of nanites or whatever that just absorb and destroy everything. It'd be cancer on an epic scale, right?
I think at that point, are they even robots anymore? Because like if they did that, it'd be cellular life, right? So
we are actually very close to that. They did recently create a biological machine.
I saw that, dude.
A cell that has no artificial like parts. It's all the programming is in the DNA and stuff. Like they have. Is
that the one where they shock like the fluid and it like swims through it? Like it walks. It's like it literally moves.
Yeah, it was something like that. And yeah, it's super cool.
That was creepy. Cool. Yeah. So what they did is they basically took I think it was a cluster of cells, like a couple of cells, and they made like little arms and like little legs. But it was all cells. There was no metal or no material. It was just cellular material. And then they would just basically like jolt it with a little current of electricity, and it would make the cells reorient. And by reorienting, they'd actually move the fluid, and they'd move. So they demonstrated that you could literally make a tiny like 3 or 4 cell or whatever matrix that could physically move when you applied current to it. And you're like, so what if you made a more sophisticated version of this, and then you control it by like electrodes connected to the human body, and you're sending pulses of electricity through the body. You inject these things, and you're literally walking them around, and a different pulse makes it walk left, and another pulse makes it walk right. And you basically create these little armies of like little nanocellular material that just walks through your body and does work.
Yeah.
Like even if it's just to clog a hole or something, right? Like in an artery. I mean, how cool would that be?
It's kind of, I mean, that sort of tech, man, you can start thinking like, well, now you have a customized, like you could, I mean, it's all kind of connected stuff. Like it's partly CRISPR, it's partly like silver bullet cures, right? Where they make their own like custom virus to basically attack a certain thing or whatever. And like you could get to a point where, yeah, man, you spin up some stem cells, you reprogram the guts, and now you have like an army of perfect white blood cells. Or, you have an army of these self-replicating cells inside of you that attack anything that isn't supposed to be there perfectly. Like, and you could get updates. You could get updates because you just get like a booster shot that has new code in it, and then that's going to propagate.
You pull out your phone. You're all like, we just repaired your aorta or something. Congratulations.
In a big way, it could get to a point where like you have these customized like medicine cells inside of you that link up to an app. You got a thing on your wrist or whatever that is constantly monitoring the fake cells in you or whatever. Like for sure.
Dude, what if we like started like the Neuralink thing kind of comes to mind now, where they were talking about how it's not just inputs, it's also outputs. So you could like, theoretically put a bunch of these probes in the brain and like control your brain's activity. And you could even like mess with your visual cortex, like just tell your brain directly like the shit that's coming from your eyes. And if you can process that amount of data, you could literally make yourself like in a virtual reality by just bypassing your optic nerve and just sending processed data right into your brain, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so once we get to that level, it's like, think about the level of control that you could have over your body. I mean, it's scary for hacking though, because somebody walking down the street just like broadcasts a DDoS and everybody collapses because it shuts down their motor cortex. That'd be scary. Right. But think about like if you could just like change your heart rate even. Imagine if you're just laying down, you're having a wicked anxiety attack, and you just pull out your app, and you're like, drop her down to 60 beats per second, and respiration's like 3, and it just completely just overrides you, and you're just like, oh, bliss.
Yeah, maintain. Like, don't let me freak out. I'm about to do a public speech. Don't let me freak out. Keep me calm. Boop, and it just levels you out.
You'd never need drugs again because you could literally just boost your neurotransmitters. Bam. Like just open it up. It's like, no more heroin, dude. You just open up your app and you're like, just boost my my dopamine levels. Just you know, oh god, it feels so good. Oh shit, I got work in 15 minutes. Okay, take all that dopamine. Okay, cool. I'm good. Like in 3 minutes, right? You're drunk off your ass. Oh, what's going on, dude? You run a little program and those nanobots start running around and soaking up all the alcohol out of your blood, right? Or release a chemical into your brain that combats it. Oh my god, I mean, it's like literally, it wouldn't quite be like being an android. But it would be like all the benefits of it. You'd still be a biological creature, but you would just have full granular control over all of your functions instead of them being controlled subconsciously.
Yeah.
That would be bitchin'.
It'd be neat. I think there's some very interesting like angles to be taken with that for sure.
It'd be amazing. Hey, Bazingas, thank you for the $5. You said, only way Skynet will fail is if it runs off of Windows. Oh, blue screen. Hey, somebody made a funny joke yesterday. They said Apple's going to get into the car building market. I guess they've kind of announced that they're going to build a car. And the first tweet I got about it was, dude, wouldn't it be funny if Apple made a car that had no windows? Like it literally had like a screen for the front thing, and it had like cameras outside, but there was no physical windows anywhere on it. It's like the Apple car. But there's just no windows. I was like, it doesn't have windows. There you go. It'd be the funniest joke ever. They should do that. Hey, Shalon D, thank you for the 10 pounds. He said, for Houston to get some equipment.
What equipment?
Houston already got equipment.
Yeah, ladies. I have actually been eyeballing a Go XLR Mini.
You should get it.
I think
I want one. Like at one point, somebody in here was going to send me one, but it never showed up to my PO box. So I'm guessing he gave it to somebody else, which I fully supported him doing. Like I was like, dude, if you know somebody other than me that needs it, like give it to them. So I hope he did. But no, they're awesome. Go XLRs. Like there's two things that I've been looking at that I want, but just not in the books right now. But Go XLR, the normal size one, because I wanted the more inputs. And the Rodecaster Pro. The Rodecaster Pro is like way more pro, but not as cool looking. Like if you want something on your desk that's like cool looking, the Go XLR kicks its ass. But the Rode Podcaster Pro, if you can find them, they're like sold out everywhere. They're pretty badass. Johnny Winter, thank you so much for those 20 DKKs, my man. Let's see here. Bazingas, thank you for the $5. Mage Miner MC, thank you for the $4. He said some botnets use amplification methods. Nowadays, much easier to launch larger attacks. Yeah, that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier with the denial of service attacks using a third party like a DNS, right? There's a lot of ways that you can attack a target where you can basically get the target to get in a fight with itself or other people and kind of leave you out of it. Like you're the dude that walks in and smack you in a bar where everybody's drunk, and you smack a guy in the back of the head and you run off, and he turns around and decks another guy, and then he decks you, and then 5 other people jump into it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different attack methodologies that you can use where it's minimal bandwidth for you, but it's like maximum damage to everybody else. And it's unfortunate because a lot of them can't be very easily defended against. That's the biggest problem. That's why you still hear about DDoS today. I mean, DDoS was a thing like back in the freaking early 90s, right? That people were just doing modem to modem, right? Just DOS attacks. And then they figured out, if we get a whole bunch of people through back doors, we can do distributed attacks using the same methodology. And the problem is they're not based on a flaw or something that can be fixed. It is a flaw, but it's an architectural flaw. It's something you can't fix. Like inherently the way the internet works. Right? It's like you can't fix a house by just not making it a house anymore, because then it's not a house, right? You can't fix the internet by like breaking the internet. The whole point of the internet is that it's all this routed traffic that goes where you tell it to go, right? And so the problem is it's by design that you can manipulate that. It's just I don't think the people that created the network in the beginning were like, there's going to be a bunch of fucks out there that are just going to try to ruin it for everybody. Hey, Chicken Ants, thank you for the $5. Pup Shepherd, thank you for the $5. Said beep beep theoretically. if a high-end collar were to show up at your door with your name on it, what colors would most be you? Arf, arf. Pup, you're trying to send me a dog collar? I mean, he is into that. I mean, that is Pup Shepherd's thing. He already sent me that shirt I can never ever wear again. I still have it, by the way. But a collar, I don't think I'm a collar dude. I don't think I'm a collar dude. But you know what? You've been a really good supporter. So if a red collar shows up in the mail that's big enough to go around this giant ass neck, I may very well put that on for a little while. I'm just saying, Pup. I'm just saying, no guarantees, but I'm just saying, like, if it's fancy and it's red and it'll go around this gullet, I'll do it. Hey, Bazinga, thank you for the $5. Said, gonna invest in EMP gun so that I can get free packages. That's actually, dude. There's gonna be so many of those things shot down. I guarantee you, the first week that service goes live, like 20% of the drones are just gonna be missing in action.
I don't know. I feel like I do think they'll protect themselves well enough.
Dude, wouldn't it be funny? You go outside and you like shoot at it, like with your BB gun, and then it just starts shooting back at you. Like, it's got like little guns on it,
or it'll be super armored like an ATM, right? Like
you can armor a drone. There's a viral YouTube video from like 5 or 6 years ago where a guy created a drone that had a Kevlar case.
Yeah,
and he literally takes a 12 gauge shotgun with like birdshot and just like shoots the thing like point blank like a bunch of times, and it just basically gets knocked back like 20 feet and like flips around and then rehovers again. And he shoots it like 3 or 4 times, and then he shows you. And I mean, it's damaged. Like the armor's all banged up and shit, but the motors were fine, the batteries were fine. That was pretty impressive. Like, so I could see them armoring these things to some degrees, as long as the propellers are created in such a way that they're like so flexible and so bendy that, like, you know, being hit by a bullet or something's going to deflect it rather than shatter it, because that's the problem, right? The rotors are the weak spot.
Yeah. Of course.
Nick said, speaking of returns, my college roommate worked at Kohl's, and they had people return clothing that wasn't even sold by Kohl's. They had to accept it. I don't know how that works, but I do know that was a thing that Software Etc. did back in the day that people took advantage of. Like, they would literally go by Software Etc. Like, you could bring it. There's a time, I don't know if they did it, but you could bring back software and return it to stores that would allow you to do it. So people would go to Walmart when they had a sale, or not Walmart, Kmart. When Kmart had a sale, they'd go buy video games for like $5 off, and then they'd take them back and return them to Software Etc. and get $5, because Software Etc. would give them a refund for the full price of the game. But I do remember that at some point they did have a policy where you had to have a receipt after that, because people were abusing that like so bad. It's like, you know, you didn't sell that stuff. Jonathan Dolph, thank you for the $5. Said, hard drive, I had a mic stop working in Discord with TeamSpeak. I would have quit and rejoined the talk. Did a new hard drive and haven't had any issues since. He said, I had my mic stop working about Discord and TeamSpeak.
That was a weird one, because like, is the stream